Chapter 2109. A trashy harvest. Everyone was stunned. When the dust settled, they immediately discovered that there was nothing but rubble on the ground. There was indeed nothing. Haha, 1 million is gone. Not even a strand of hair? I knew that there was nothing on that mountain. Without a doubt, those voices of schadenfreude came one after another. However, Lin Ling's expression remained calm. He knew that the feng shui at the foot of the mountain was very good. The reason why there were no treasures was because the time was too short, causing the feng shui to not produce any treasures. The second one, Lin Ling said indifferently. Yuan Shizi started to worry. It was too disappointing that there was nothing here. However, he still opened the second mountain. Rumble. Countless rocks flew in all directions, causing the crowd to stare with wide eyes. Pa pa pa. Stone after stone fell to the ground, but he didn't see any magic stones. There weren't even many spiritual herbs. Patter. Finally, a piece of bone fell to the ground. Seeing this, everyone was stunned. Just a piece of broken bone? This YouTube brat couldn't have dug up their ancestral graves, right? Haha, interesting. Broken bones, are you going to dig them out and feed them to the dogs? The high priest couldn't help but laugh loudly. Lin Ling also laughed. Moreover, he laughed very happily and excitedly. He hurriedly ordered, "Go and bring that bone over." Yes. The Dark Dragon Emperor pounced over and picked up the broken bone. His face was filled with depression. What was this broken bone going to do? When Lin Ling picked up the bone, the Dark Dragon Emperor even saw that his master was actually very happy, as if he was going to eat the bone. Haha, you really are a dog. You think a piece of broken bone is a treasure. The high priest laughed again, causing the demons to laugh. Lin Ling turned a deaf ear. At this moment he was indeed very excited. He didn't expect to gain so much, because this bone was the bone of a god. Although he did not know which god it came from, nor did he know why it appeared here, he was sure that it was the bone of an extremely ancient expert from the martial god realm. Perhaps that expert had fought with someone in the martial god realm and died in the end. His bones had exploded, and one of his bones had landed in the devil region. It was precisely because it was a god's bone that no one could recognize it. It could be said that this bone was so precious that even 100 million magic stones would not be able to afford it. Moreover, Lin Ling's god-devil body already has the devil bone, and now he also has the god bone, which can greatly increase his strength. Good, good, good. Lin Ling said good 3 times in a row, and then carefully put away the treasure. Among everyone, only the sexy beauty felt that the bones were a bit extraordinary. Originally, she wanted to take a look at them, but seeing Lin Ling's indifferent look, she was too lazy to ask, because asking would only cause her to be-rolled her eyes. You've already lost. Hand over the 3 heads. The high priest sipped his tea and narrowed his eyes. As far as he was concerned, even if Lin Ling's third mountain was impressive, it would not surpass his. The third mountain isn't over yet. Let's wait until it's over. Lin Ling asked Yuan Shizi to open the third mountain. In front of the vast mountains, there was a relatively inconspicuous mountain that did not even have a blade of grass. Yuan Shizi appeared there gloomily. Even he did not think that there would be any treasures in this broken mountain. That's a place where even rabbits don't poop. If even he thought so, the others felt even more hopeless. Young master of the Moon Rabbit clan, are you sure? The sexy beauty sighed softly and asked while wagging her tail. Open it. Lin Ling smiled and nodded. Boom. The mountain was too small, and it did not cause much of a commotion when it was opened. However, what was surprising was that the mountain was extremely hard. Yuan Shizi used all his strength and only managed to break some rocks. Seeing this, the crowd laughed even louder. Breaking the mountain was one thing, but even breaking the mountain was so difficult. In the end, the sexy beauty could not stand it anymore and helped to break the mountain. Suddenly, a fishy stench spread out, causing many demons to vomit. In the depths of the mountain, there was a pool of mud lying on the ground, and it was emitting a foul stench. From afar it looked like a cesspool. No one knew why such a cesspool was hidden in the mountain, but there was no doubt that the young master of the Moon Rabbit clan had failed again. Other people would return empty-handed after breaking open the mountain, but this guy actually got some trash. Even the sexy beauty could not help but shake her head. Unlike the others, Lin Ling's eyes lit up instantly, and he flew over to the cesspool. He walked along the cesspool for a few steps, and finally could not help but laugh. Because this was a place of great misfortune that had turned into great fortune. It meant that this mountain was originally a place of great misfortune, and the smell of blood was extremely strong. However, after thousands of years, the misfortune began to turn into a place of great fortune, and the feng shui of the place was extremely strong, causing the murderous aura and killing intent to condense into something like a cesspool. The black, muddy water was called the underground smelly spirit, and some people called it the ambergris. It was an extremely rare treasure. Little Saint, spit out and devour the black water. Lin Ling released the little saint. He guessed that this treasure would be enough for the little saint to recover his former strength. The little saint spat out his tongue and shot it into the cesspool. However, after entering the cesspool, there was no smell at all. Instead, the black water warmed his body, and rich energy surged into his body. At this moment on the other side of the hill, everyone was laughing hysterically. Many people had failed to buy a mountain, but if one were to talk about who had the worst harvest, it would undoubtedly be the kid from the Moon Rabbit clan. The first mountain was empty. The second mountain was a piece of rotten bone. The third mountain was a cesspool. Haha. At this thought, everyone laughed even louder. The high priest drank tea and kicked the saber beside his feet. 3 heads, I'll take them. Hand over the heads. Hand it over. Accept your loss. Hand it over. Kid from the Moon Rabbit clan, we won't help you today. Hand it over. Everyone immediately flattered, especially the Fox King, whose voice was the loudest. On the other hand, Sword Immortal Tsongtian and the others sneered. Although they also thought that their master had failed, their master was the heavens. So what if he had failed? He did not have a head, but he had a sword. Clearly they were ready to attack. However, at this moment, a smiling voice floated out. My harvest is not bad. Why do you think I've lost? Haha. The voice came from Lin Ling. When it landed in the ears of the demons, it undoubtedly stirred up a raging tornado. This harvest is not bad? All the demons stopped laughing. The high priest was the first to laugh out loud. You didn't even get a single demon stone, and you say it's not bad? Do you think we're all blind? Haha. That's right. Not only did you not get anything, but it's also a negative number because you got a pile of trash. Haha. This guy definitely doesn't want to die. He wants to go back on his words. Haha. In my opinion, he took his head by force. Haha. The faces of the demons turned cold. Some of the stronger demons walked down from the hill. Lin Ling's face was still calm. He asked calmly, must you get demon stones to be considered a good harvest? Haha. Chapter 21:10. Astonished like a celestial being. It's just that the magic stones are the best loot, and you don't seem to have anything. An old man who looked like a demon turtle said with a frown. Of course I have a harvest, but only one. At this moment an ordinary ancient stone appeared in Lin Ling's hand. It was the stone he obtained from opening the mountain. 1 piece. The high priestess had more than 20 million yuan. A demon said, wanting to compete with the high priest together is simply a disgrace. Lin Ling didn't explain. He clenched his right hand, and the ancient stone in his hand exploded, revealing a crystal-like transparent stone. This stone was extremely dazzling, and if one looked carefully, they would discover that there was something hidden within it. Unfortunately, those demons didn't think that a stone could be compared to 20 million devil stones. Men chop off their heads. The high priest couldn't be bothered to speak any more nonsense. However, just as those demons were about to make a move, a terrified voice suddenly rang out. Heavens, you actually found a divine crystal in the demon domain. These words came from the sexy beauty. With her knowledge, she naturally recognized the divine crystals. The other demons were bewildered. Divine crystals? Or was he crazy? What is this? The high priest frowned slightly. This name seemed somewhat familiar. However, the sexy beauty's next sentence finally let him know what divine crystals were. A piece of divine crystal can allow a rank 1 martial emperor to smoothly step into rank 2 martial emperor realm. The divine crystal in his hand is not small. Its value is equivalent to 3 pieces. The sexy beauty said solemnly, What? A treasure for the martial emperor realm? I remember now. I heard that the big demon king got a lot of divine crystals from the nation of God. Heavens, how could we have ever seen such a treasure? Without a doubt, the jaws of all the demons dropped to the ground. Pa! As for the high priest, he had been drinking tea, but now his teacup fell to the ground, and his mouth hung wide open. I wonder if this piece of divinity crystal is worth 20 million magic stones? Lin Ling stared coldly at the high priest. Actually, there was no need to answer this question, because devil stones were used by ordinary devils, and divine crystals were used by grand devil kings. The two of them were completely different. Looks like you already know the answer. As for those idiots in the audience, go grab him and make him kneel here for 3 years. Lin Ling's smile became even colder. In the entire mountain, only his voice could be heard. This voice was like a storm, like thunder, sweeping through the hearts of everyone present. They never imagined that the Moon Rabbit clan brat would actually win against the high priest. Wait a minute. You said it's a divine crystal. Is it really a divine crystal? In my opinion, we should appraise 1 point. At this moment, the Fox King spoke, but his eyes were filled with greed. The high priest immediately understood what the White Fox King meant. He sneered and nodded. We need to appraise it. Hee hee. Do you think you simple-minded, brawny fellows can understand divine crystals? Lin Ling coldly snorted in disdain. His words made the sexy beauty giggle. These demons indeed had pig brains. However, I'm a very fair person. If you want to appraise it, take it. However, to everyone's surprise, Lin Ling simply threw the divine crystal. This action made the sexy beauty frown. You idiot! Everyone knew that the high priest and the Fox King were trying to cheat. Most importantly, they had their eyes on the divine crystal. After all, the harvest in the surrounding mountain range was probably not as valuable as the divine crystal. The high priest and the Fox King did not expect Lin Ling to be so straightforward. After the Fox King took the divine crystal, he immediately laughed loudly. Actually, he knew that it was real as soon as he took the divine crystal because the dense energy of the laws couldn't deceive him. Not bad. Today's harvest is not bad. This divine crystal was obtained by splitting open the mountain. Isn't that right, everyone? The Fox King's sudden words stunned all the demons. Then they all reacted and became witnesses. That's right. This divine crystal was obtained by the Fox King when he split open the mountain. Amazing, amazing. As expected of the demon's most sensitive sense of smell, the Fox King has struck it rich today. They were lying with their eyes wide open. Moreover, their expressions turned cold. Now you still don't seem to have gained anything. The high priest also sneered. His handsome face was extremely cold, and there was even a thick murderous intent. Today he had lost to a nameless kid. This kind of thing could not be allowed to happen. Otherwise, he would not have any face in the demon territory. Therefore, he wanted to use this opportunity to kill that kid. This Moon Rabbit clan kid has already lost. His harvest from splitting open the mountain is only a pile of broken bones and a pile of mud. The demons immediately flattered. Kid, give me your head. The Fox King also roared majestically. Did you not hear what I said? If you make me unhappy, I will destroy your entire Moon Rabbit clan. Seeing this scene, the sexy beauty sighed softly. That Moon Rabbit clan kid was still too inexperienced. Now that he was in big trouble, should she help him? However, Lin Ling's next sentence made the sexy beauty completely speechless. There was no such thing as the most inexperienced, only more inexperienced. You guys are going back on your words, especially the Fox King. As the seller, you actually want to touch someone else's harvest. This is against the rules. When these words came out, even the Fox King felt that Lin Ling was too stupid. He still openly reneged on his debt. What do you mean by going back on my words? Moon Rabbit clan kid, you are the one who went back on your words. You have already lost. In his opinion, what kind of background could Lin Ling have? It was not a big deal to slander him directly. I lost? You have a pair of dog eyes, right? Then I will tell you. In fact, other than the first mountain, the harvest from the next 2 mountains is definitely not lower than that divine crystal. Lin Ling seemed to sigh regretfully. The withered bone appeared in his right hand. This is the divine bone from the martial god realm. Boom! When these words fell, the demons' hearts exploded. As for the muddy pool behind me, I am very sorry. This is the underground smelly spirit, also known as ambergris. It is the product of great misfortune and great fortune. It is extremely rare. Boom! Lightning struck again. At this moment the demons felt like they were country bumpkins. Even the high priest felt the same. They never thought that the withered bone that they had mocked before was actually the divine bone. And that fecal pit was the ambergris. The trash in their eyes was actually such a precious treasure? This slap made them dizzy and even a little ashamed. However, the demons' eyes quickly turned red and were filled with greed. The high priest could no longer sit still. He shouted coldly, "It seems that I have underestimated you. However, you should not have said it. You have indeed underestimated me. As for why I said it, it is because I am also very interested in the demon stones on you." Lin Ling's lips curled into a cold smile. "Let me show you the power of the ambergris." Roar! Chapter 21:11. Defeated without a fight, so scary, what is that? Oh my god, is this the power of the ambergris? We were all wrong. Not only were we wrong, but we also underestimated him. This Moon Rabbit Clan boy is really scary. The demons were shocked. Since when did the Moon Rabbit Clan have such a powerful young master? However, they were all worried about their own safety. "I'm sorry, you really underestimated my master. Because other than the small saints, we are not weak either." Unfortunately, what frightened them was that Sword Immortal Tsang Tian, and the others were also very powerful. Many of the demons knelt down and even kowtowed. Moreover, Sword Immortal Tsang Tian and the others did not even need to use their full strength against these demons. However, this also made the sexy beauty's face change slightly. These people were so powerful. With her status and strength, why couldn't she see through them? Moreover, where did that snake come from? It gave her a strong sense of pressure. In fact, Lin Ling and the others were carrying immortal weapons and hiding their aura. With the immortal weapons that Lin Ling forged, she could not see through them. "My father is one of the 5 great demon kings. You dare to mess around?" As for the high priest, he had already forgotten to drink his tea. However, he was still the son of the great demon king. Among those of the same age, other than the top geniuses of each race, he was not afraid of anyone. Moreover, his background was not small. Unless this Moon Rabbit Clan boy wanted to be annihilated, he would not dare to touch him. Oh right, the high priest is still here. The demons who knelt down were excited. They still had a chance. Pa! At this time, Lin Ling walked towards the hill and stopped in front of the high priest. He looked at him indifferently. Scared? Scared? The high priest guessed that Lin Ling must be scared. He said indifferently, "I can't deny that you have some skills in treasure hunting. Unfortunately, in this world strength is everything. I, the high priest, am the #1 genius of the demon race. No one can stop me. Let me tell you, if you don't kneel down today, you will regret it." Scared. His aura was insufferably arrogant. Lin Ling, on the other hand, was silent as he looked at the high priest. Seeing this, the demons became even more confident. They wanted to see the high priestess teach the Moon Rabbit Clan brat a lesson. Among them, only the sexy beauty's strength could tell the difference between the two. The high priest naturally couldn't see how terrifying Lin Ling was. He also thought that Lin Ling wouldn't dare to speak. He sneered at Lin Ling suddenly, his heart trembled. Because Lin Ling was also looking at him. But that calm gaze carried an indescribable aura. This kind of aura, it was an aura that had been tempered by wind and rain. This aura was the aura of someone who had walked out from a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. This aura was not something that could be faked. Instead, it was real, and it was accumulated through countless battles. Boom! The high priest felt as if he had been struck by lightning. His mind was filled with disbelief. He was the #1 prodigy of the demon race, so how could a Moon Rabbit Clan brat's aura be stronger than his? However, the surrounding demons didn't notice his surprise at all, and continued to cheer. At this moment, Lin Ling finally spat out, "I'm scared of you." Thud thud thud. With just one sentence, the high priest took 3 steps back, his face pale. What? The clamoring demons all around were like ducks holding their necks. Even the demon Pig King's chin fell to the ground. The high priest was the #1 prodigy of the demon race. His father was a great demon king, and he would soon marry the daughter of the great demon king of the East. Such a prodigy of the demon race was actually scared to the point of taking 3 steps back? Was this a dream? Scared of you? Lin Ling took another step forward. With his current strength, other than the ancient giants of the various races, who would he be afraid of? Thud! The high priest subconsciously knelt on the ground. Moreover, he struggled to stand up, but his legs didn't live up to his expectations. He could only continue to tremble. This scene undoubtedly caused the demons to be extremely disappointed. He lost. The #1 prodigy of the demon race, I thought he would win. In the end, before the battle even began, his will to fight crumbled. A demon said in shock. Although he didn't understand what had happened, he guessed that the two of them weren't on the same level. One was a prodigy who relied on his father's protection to dominate the demon realm. The other was a nameless junior who had battle experience and fought countless life and death battles. The two couldn't be compared. In fact, this was indeed the case. Although Lin Ling had Li Xiaoyao's memories, whether it was Li Xiaoyao or Lin Ling, they grew up step by step by relying on themselves. It could also be said that the current Lin Ling didn't borrow Li Xiaoyao's aura. With his own aura, he could suppress the high priest. My father is the great demon king. At this moment, the high priest didn't dare to look at Lin Ling. He muttered to himself, trying to regain his confidence. A stray dog who only knows how to rely on his cheap father? Lin Ling sneered. He took a step forward, grabbed the high priest's head, and slammed it into the ground. Boom! The earth shook and the hills swayed. This domineering and magnificent action undoubtedly shocked all the demons. In their hearts, this Moon Rabbit clan brat was the great demon king of the demon race. Spare me. I was wrong. This time all the demons knelt down willingly. Moreover, they blamed the high priest in their hearts. This was because the high priest was so confident in the beginning and said that he was the best. In the end, he admitted defeat before the battle. It was very ironic. They were happy for nothing. Hand over the demon stones and scram. Lin Ling looked at the demons and said, I'll hand them over. Me too. These demons had powerful backgrounds. Some of them even had the strength of a big shot in the human world. However, they all admitted defeat at this moment. After all, compared to Face, their lives were obviously more important. Therefore, right now, they only wanted to leave this fiend. Wait. Suddenly, Lin Ling said calmly, You have to leave on your knees. What? All the demons opened their mouths wide. Leaving on their knees? That was too embarrassing. When you mocked me before, you should have known that there would be such a price. Of course you have a second choice. Lin Ling said. What choice is it? I choose the second choice. After all, if I leave on my knees, I won't have the face to see anyone in the future. Scram. Hearing this, all the demons were stunned. Then they laughed bitterly in their hearts. Neither choice was a good choice. Of course they still chose to scram. At least it would be more dignified. Therefore, a shocking scene appeared. A large number of demon tribe leaders rolled on the hills and out of the vast mountains. The demons who were watching from afar were dumbfounded. Sword Immortal Song Tian looked at the pathetic demons in disdain. He knew that his master had shown mercy. Otherwise, these demons would have been wiped out long ago. Wait. At this time Lin Ling said again. Without a doubt, his voice caused the demons to tremble in fear. What other conditions did the little ancestor of the Moon Rabbit tribe have? Fox King stay. Lin Ling's eyes turned cold as he looked at the Fox King. He could not be bothered to make things difficult for the other demons. However, he could not do that to the Fox King. This was because this person had betrayed him and violated Lin Ling's principles. What else do you want? Chapter 21:12. The Chaotic Realm of True Force. Lin Ling smiled and didn't answer his question. Instead, he turned around and left. Those who knew Lin Ling knew what that smile represented. Even Lin Ling's former enemies called that smile the Grim Reaper's smile. The Fox King's body trembled. Lin Ling didn't say anything. Instead, he smiled. This made the Fox King feel even more uneasy. Wait, spare me. I really didn't know that this lord was so powerful. He shouted anxiously. My master made a fair trade with you, yet you dare to go back on your word and blame it on my master. I have to say, even I admire your courage." At this moment a sword slashed out. It was Sword Immortal Song Heaven. A sword wound appeared on the Fox King's neck. He regretted it. He shouldn't have trusted the high priest. He shouldn't have been greedy and violated the principle of selling the mountain. Of course, this wasn't because he was looking down on Lin Ling, but because he didn't expect a young master of the Moon Rabbit tribe to be so powerful. Sword Immortal Song Heaven and the others laughed coldly in disdain and strode away with Lin Ling. They knew that Lin Ling's goal was to find the Demon King's daughter, so he couldn't be bothered with these people. And that was indeed the case. Currently, Lin Ling was in an extremely good mood. He didn't expect to have such an unexpected harvest. Moreover, it was a huge harvest. Not only did the ambergris restore the little saint's strength, but it was also useful to Lin Ling. As for the god's bone, it was also an extremely rare treasure. After that, Lin Ling looked for a way to enter the realm of true force. The true martial world and the demon area were actually two different worlds. They were separated by the void enchantment. If one wanted to enter the true martial world, they had to open the void enchantment. After Lin Ling and the others left, the vast mountain was still quiet. Many demons were watching from afar. Fox King is dead. Serves him right. Who told him to violate his own rule of selling the mountain? Since he dares to sell the mountain, then he shouldn't touch the harvest of the guests. This time I've clearly kicked an iron plate. What I'm most curious about is the background of that Moon Rabbit clan brat, and why is the person by his side so powerful? Voices of discussion rose and fell one after another. On the hill, the high priest was still kneeling there, his eyes flashing. He was surprised that Lin Ling didn't kill him. "You didn't kill me. If I had met you, you'd be dead for sure. Right now I have to get back as quickly as possible. I don't want to miss the wedding." The high priest stood up, causing the devils in the distance to be startled. Because the high priest was not obliterated, he was supposed to kneel for 3 years, but the high priest went back on his words again. "All of you die." The high priestess floated up into the air, surrounded by countless palms that looked like butterflies. By the time they slammed into the ground, all of the devil folk in the area were dead. Today's shameful matter must not be spread out. The high priest's face twisted. For the sake of face, he could kill everyone in the world. Soon after, he smiled ferociously and disappeared. He had to rush back to attend the wedding. He would become the first son-in-law of the devil folk and make the entire devil folk envious of his brilliance. At this moment, the true martial world had already been sealed by someone. This method was extremely powerful. Only one of the 5 great demon kings of the demon domain, the 100 million great demon king, could do this. Moreover, the sealed true martial world could only be opened if one had a token. As for leaving, it was even more impossible. Therefore, the experts of the Zhenwu world had no idea what was happening outside. The high priest and the Eastern Devil King's daughter are getting married? It's a match made in heaven. In the current devil folk, after the fall of the Pink Prince and the other 5 devil kings, the high priest is the symbol of the number 1 genius. He represents the pride of the devil folk. He will surpass the Pink Prince and sweep away the geniuses of various races. I heard that the Eastern Devil King's daughter worships the high priest and took the initiative to deliver herself to him. Is that so? I heard that the 100 million lives Great Devil King and the Crystal Master of the Devil Folk joined hands to injure the Eastern Devil King and forced him to hand over the Zhenwu world. Then the Eastern Devil King's daughter will marry the high priest and let the high priest control the Zhenwu world. Moreover, the 400 million lives Great Devil King is also eyeing covetously. The Eastern Devil King alone is not his opponent. What nonsense are you talking about? You actually dared to sow discord. Kill. In the Zhenwu world, as long as the devil folk spoke the truth, they would be immediately killed. This led to a change in the wind. The Eastern Devil King fancied the high priest's future and humbly married his daughter to him. This big wedding that caused a sensation in the devil folk was undoubtedly the most dazzling event of the devil folk after the 4 clans tournament. Perhaps the entire devil folk also wanted to take advantage of this event to drive away bad luck. At this moment, under a tall mountain range, Two mountain ranges towered into the clouds like swords. Between the two mountains, powerful law chains flickered. A tall and sturdy domineering giant was tied there. His long hair was disheveled and his eyes were red. The chains that bound his body were like knives cutting him. However, he was very strong, so he was constantly recovering. While recovering, he was being cut. This process was undoubtedly extremely painful. However, that giant did not feel anything. Instead, he coldly looked into the distance. Devil Dragon Colt, you betrayed me. His voice shook the sky. It was unyielding and unfair, as if it had spread throughout the entire Zhenwu world. Hearing that voice, the native devilfolk of the Zhenwu world clenched their fists. Their sharp nails pierced their palms, but they did not feel anything. It was the voice of their king, the Eastern Devil King. If the Eastern Devil King's first advisor, Devil Dragon Colt, had not secretly framed him, how could the dignified Eastern Devil King be defeated so easily? Roar! The roar was like that of a beast king, spreading throughout the Zhenwu world again. In that mountain range, the bound giant trembled. His eyes were red, full of unyielding and unwillingness. At this moment, two figures appeared in the mountain range. They smiled and looked at the Eastern Devil King. The person on the left was wearing a large cloak. The law on his body was extremely terrifying. He was the crystal master of the Devil Kingdom. The person on the right looked like a human, but he had horns on his forehead. He was wearing a white robe. A large number of palms were floating around his body. He was the 100 million lives Great Devil King. These two were ancient giants who could shake the devilfolk with just a move of their feet. When you refused to invade the human race, you became the public enemy of the entire devilfolk. The Crystal Master of the Devil Kingdom said indifferently. Then he sighed. Why? You are the oldest. We should respect you. Why do you have to violate the righteousness of the devilfolk? Bullshit. The devilfolk will suffer countless casualties if they collide with the human race. You are doing this for your own selfish reasons. That giant roared. He was still as unyielding as before. The Crystal Master of the Devil Kingdom smiled. He flicked his finger, and a large number of devils as thick as a finger flew out. They were densely packed like locusts and crazily tore at that giant. Even his bones were exposed. However, that giant did not even frown. You have no way out. I have sealed the true martial world. No one can save you. Of course, even if I hadn't sealed it, no one would have been able to save you. After your daughter and my son get married, my son will take over the true martial world. The 100 million lives Great Devil King said indifferently. Chapter 21:13. An unchangeable fate. That's not up to you. I've heard that your daughter has reincarnated. She has always been pure and honest. I will let my son play with her. After we obtain Zhenwu Jia, I will obliterate your daughter. The 100 million lives Demon King's face was very calm, as if he was talking about the most normal thing. He raised his eyebrows at the same time. Countless palms flew out and fell on the giant's body, causing his body to sink deep into it. Thank you, Eastern Demon King. I will take your Zhenwu realm. After that, the 100 million lives Demon King turned around and left. After the two Demon Kings disappeared, the giant roared towards the sky. He had fought countless battles in his life and had never been defeated. However, he did not expect that today he would be framed by his own people. He was not reconciled. At this moment, Dreamlike Mountain was still as beautiful as a fairyland. Pink snow floated down from the sky, sprinkling down the beauty of the world. Dreamlike Mountain. Life was like a dream, like the moon in the water, like a flower in the mirror, like the moon in the water. It seemed to be saying that the so-called love was actually like a dream. In the end, there was no result. Just like the falling snow, although beautiful, it would still melt in the end. I only care about what I once had. Why care about eternity? At the top of the mountain under the huge ancient tree, a young girl smiled and looked at the sky. She stretched out her small hand to catch the falling snow. She was Xian Yuange. She revealed a sweet smile. In her mind, there was a young girl's dream. Whoosh! The wind blew over, blowing her long hair. Faintly, she saw the promise of a young boy and a young girl under the tree. They held hands and stood under the tree, making a promise of youth. Xiaoling, your father did not allow me to be with you. He said that humans and demons cannot coexist together. However, I Li Xiaoyao do not believe all of this. I have the heavenly eyes. Whether humans or demons, I will break this rule. You only need to wait for me. When the day comes that I rule the world, I will come and marry you. At that time, who can stop us? Yes. The young boy made a promise word by word. I believe you. Yes. The young girl was pure like the pink snow in the sky. She had a beautiful fantasy of love. That's good. Yes. The young man revealed a smile. It was extremely brilliant, but it was also filled with strong confidence. She still remembered the promise she made thousands of years ago. She was Li Xiaoyao's first love and the first person he loved. That was enough for her. It was because her man was extremely outstanding, the #1 emperor being of the 4 great eras. She couldn't help but smile even more happily and blissfully. She saw the young girl leaning on the young man's shoulder. She softly said, "Even if we separate in the end, our fated marriage will not end. No matter how many thousands of generations pass, it will not end. In the future, if there comes a day when I come here again, the person who will accompany me will be you. If there comes a day when I am willing to enter the cycle of reincarnation for you, we will meet again here." The young man smiled and said firmly, "Because they were fated to be together." She recalled her first encounter with that young man in the ghost realm. The young man was in danger, so she turned around to save him. She was captured by a powerful enemy, but the young man resolutely came back to save her. At that time, the heavens arranged for them to meet again. However, if only life was like the first time we met. Could it be that she and Lin Ling could only meet for the first time forever? When everything was about to be perfect, would the two of them have to brush past each other again? Lin Ling, I'm sorry. This time, this young girl will leave first again. Just like Li Xiaoyao in the previous life, when you come back, this young girl will have already reincarnated. And this time is also the same. Who told you to be so slow? And every time, you are so slow that this young girl is impatient. The young girl played with her black hair and said in a somewhat willful manner. It was just that it was simple, but her little face was full of tears. Because her body and her heart only belonged to one person, so she would rather die than marry someone else. If she really wanted to marry, then she would enter the cycle of reincarnation. She had always dreamed of the man who loved her to come and pick her up. Unfortunately, her man always came late. All of this might be fate. It was like this in the previous life, and it was also like this in this life. I will give you a song. I hope that in the next life, you can come and find me again. On the top of the mountain, the snow was fluttering and the wind was whistling. The sound of nature seemed to spread throughout the entire Zhenwu world. Boom! At the distant border of the Zhenwu world, a barrier was forcefully blasted open by someone. Following that, a handsome and slender figure walked in with a happy smile on his face. Someone actually sealed the Zhenwu world. It's really a big deal. That person wiped the sweat off his forehead and couldn't help but shrug and laugh. If it weren't for his good barrier skills, it would have been really difficult for him to enter the Zhenwu world. As expected of Master, this barrier is so strong that I couldn't cut it open even after 10 slashes. Master actually broke it. Behind the young man, a few more people walked in. Idiot, the barrier is not like the martial arts of the law. It takes a long time to set it up, but once it is set up successfully, its power is not weak. The young man rolled his eyes and replied, "Hehe, I don't understand anyway. I just know that Master is powerful." One of them laughed. "Well, Dark Dragon Emperor, I can give you 98 points for this flattery." Another person was very unhappy. It seemed that because the latter had flattered his master, he was very jealous. Is this the Zhenwu world? Behind the two devastatingly beautiful women also walked in. One of them, a more delicate woman, was surprised. Yes, the territory of the great demon king of the east, and also Master's mortal enemy. The other woman said, "Mortal enemies, if they are like-minded, they can also become close friends." The young man in the lead looked into the distance and couldn't help but reveal a brilliant smile. However, soon, he faintly heard a familiar voice drifting over. Xian Yuange, that little demoness, but the girl who had a predestined marriage with him. Although the voice was joyful, he could faintly hear that there was also a touch of nostalgia and sadness in it. Disciples, it's time to go. Moreover, I have a feeling that there will be a big battle soon. The young man's eyes turned cold. He slightly clenched his fists, and cracking sounds continuously rang out. I've long wanted to meet the great demon king of the demon race. With our current strength, it's very difficult to kill them. However, winning a battle against them is just a small problem. The few people behind him followed the young man and strode forward. After they left, the barrier behind them slowly shrank, and a figure wearing a large cloak slowly walked out. Then the cloak was removed, revealing a slightly wild but beautiful face. Where did these guys come from? They can actually break the barrier of the first high priest of the demon realm. When did the demon race have such a powerful guy? Most importantly, the strength of that Moon Rabbit clan boy is too mysterious. Moreover, those guys who don't look weak actually listen to his orders. It would be strange if I'm not curious. After muttering, the figure put on the cloak and quietly followed. However, from the outline of the cloak, one could vaguely see that it was a woman, and her figure was extremely good. The Zhenwu world was full of smoke, but the strongest forces of the demon race were gathered there. Chapter 21:14. Bone City's Great Calamity Kill. Although the Great Eastern Demon King was captured, most of his subordinates were extremely loyal, and they fought back with all their might. Capture all of them. Kill those who don't obey. Tell them that the true martial realm belongs to the High Priest. Kill. Under the dusky sky, a huge demon race stepped on the ground and chased after the remaining forces. The leader was an old man with a goat's head. He stroked his beard and smiled sinisterly. He was the former military advisor of the Great Eastern Demon King, Mo Long Ma. His IQ, when compared to the other demons, was clearly several streets ahead of him. Therefore, when he saw that the Great Eastern Demon King was on the decline, he colluded with other Great Eastern Demon Kings and framed his old master. Mo Long Ma, you old man, let me tell you, as long as I don't die today, I will kill you someday. Kill. On the ground, many demons were captured. However, they were unyielding, and they sneered at the sky. Lord Mo Yun, how should we deal with those demons? Mo Long Ma looked at a thin and weak youth beside him with flattery. This youth had a pair of bone wings behind his back. He was extremely wise and powerful, and the evil smile on his face made him even more charming. He came from the 400 million Great Eastern Demon King, and he was the second genius under the Great Eastern Demon King. After the fall of the Pink Crown Prince, the other geniuses who were ranked at the bottom also rose. Kill. The youth called Lord Mo Yun said with a smile, you will all die a horrible death. On the ground, the Great Eastern Demon King's subordinates all roared. Hee. I love to hear people's unwilling voices before they die. Because they are angry at me, but they are not my opponent. This feeling is too good. Surprisingly, the youth enjoyed the angry voices of the earth very much. He even danced happily with an intoxicated face. Puff. Swoosh. Under his dance, the demons on the ground were killed one by one, and blood spilled on the ground. Even the demon dragon Colt trembled. This Lord Mo Yun was truly abnormal. He smiled and said, Lord Mo Yun, we can go to the Bone City now. That's the border defense line. I think a third of the Great Demon King of the East's forces have fled there. Are there many people? Lord Mo Yun was still dancing as he asked with a smile. Many, at least several 100 million. Haha, then let's kill them. I don't like people who beg for mercy. It's too boring. I hope they have a strong backbone. Under the leadership of Lord Mo Yun, the Devil Army charged towards the Bone City. The Bone City belonged to the Winged Race. This tribe was not strong, but their background was not small. Rumor has it that the Great Eastern Demon King specifically warned not to provoke this tribe. No one knew the reason. Only the people of the Winged clan knew that it was because of Lin Ling. And the leader of the Winged tribe was actually Lin Ling's ancient flame devil, which was also Lin Ling's elder brother, Gu Zhantian. Lord, the world of true martial is becoming more and more chaotic. What should we do now? In the vast Bone City, all the strong cultivators looked as if they were facing a great enemy. They looked at the middle-aged man in the lead, and their faces were extremely grave. That middle-aged man was their leader, the city lord of Bone City, Gu Zhantian. The great Eastern Demon King has been captured, and his daughter is going to be married off to the Grand Priest. Right now, the two Demon Kings have joined forces, and I heard that the 400 million Devil Kings are also eyeing them covetously. We are not their opponents at all. A worried voice rang out, after which the eyes of the person who spoke brightened. Why don't we join the 100 million lives Devil King side? I heard that as long as we submit, everything will be forgotten. Pack. As the sound of his voice faded, a resounding slap landed on the face of that devil. I don't wish to hear such words again. The one who slapped him was Gu Zhantian. Lord, please think thrice. For the sake of our tribe, we have to do this. That devil gritted his teeth and spoke. Ai, you have followed me for many years and should know my character well. You should also know of my second brother, Lin Ling. If it wasn't for him, our tribe would have long perished. If it wasn't for him arranging a path for us, how could we have such peaceful days? Now that the great Eastern Demon King is in trouble, you want me to submit to him? How do you want me to face my second brother in the future? Gu Zhantian spoke word by word, his words causing that devil to be speechless. In truth, Lin Ling was the hero of their tribe. If Lin Ling was in trouble, that devil would definitely die to help him. But this didn't mean that he would help the great Eastern Demon King. Also, for those who disturb the morale of our tribe, kill them all. Gu Zhantian gritted his teeth as tears flickered in his eyes. However, he still killed that devil with a single punch. That devil had followed him for many years and was extremely loyal. Today's suggestion was for the sake of their tribe. But even so, he still had to kill him. Everything was for the sake of brotherhood. Putong. Everyone knelt down. We swear to fight alongside Lord. This is then the true men of my tribe. Although today's calamity would cause our entire tribe to perish, no matter if we are humans or devils, we all have our own principles. If we are heartless and emotionless, what's the difference between us and plants? Hence, death isn't terrifying. What's most terrifying is dying silently. For our tribe, even if we die, we must do so with a bang. Gu Zhantian stared ahead as he spoke, his words causing the other devils to roar bang, bang, bang. That heroic roar pierced through the clouds. Lord, this is bad. The myriad waves Devil General is rushing over with his subordinates. Behind them are Lord Devil Cloud and the others. Lord Devil Cloud and his subordinates are chasing after us. At this moment a voice rang out. Welcome them. Gu Zhantian hurriedly spoke. That myriad waves Devil General was a subordinate of the Eastern Devil King. Now that he was fleeing for his life, he had to help no matter what. Rumble. The Bone City was like a castle. From afar it looked like a gigantic piece of bone. At this moment, the bone started to wriggle as the sky opened up. Thank you, Brother Zhantian. From afar, a large number of subordinates of the Eastern Devil King arrived. All of them were in a sorry state and had suffered heavy injuries. It was hard to imagine that if the Bone City didn't open up, they wouldn't have been able to flee for long. After that, they would all die on the way here. Quickly enter the city. Gu Zhantian hurriedly spoke, allowing the devils to descend. At the same time, Lord Devil Cloud and his subordinates arrived. Myriad Waves Devil General, are you still going to be so stubborn? Among the devils, the Devil Dragon Colt coldly snorted. The goatee on his face curled up in satisfaction. Traitor, I will definitely kill you in this lifetime. A large number of voices rang out from the Bone City. However, the Devil Dragon Colt merely laughed as he stared at Gu Zhantian. Gu Zhantian, I've heard of you before. You seem to be the brother of Lin Ling from the human race. But today, will you choose to be with us? Or will you choose death? I choose your mother. Gu Zhantian laughed, retorting with cold words. The Devil Dragon Colt's countenance turned extremely unsightly. Don't think that just because you are Lin Ling's brother, you can do whatever you want. Let me tell you, Lin Ling is dead for sure. The true martial realm had long been sealed. Hence, they weren't clear about the matters of the four-race competition. They only knew that the geniuses of the devil race had all fallen. Hence, the Devil Dragon Colt felt that Lin Ling was nothing but trash. Chapter 21:15. Overlord raises the cauldron, seal the city. Gu Zhantian couldn't be bothered to speak any more nonsense. With a low roar, cracking sounds rang out. It was as though pieces of building blocks were stacked together. The sky above the bone city was sealed by the bones, causing the vision of the entire city to darken. Devil Dragon Cult, are they refusing to surrender? Lord Mo Yun looked at the shrinking bones and suddenly laughed. Lord, that's right. I'm most afraid of them surrendering because I can't kill them. Not surrendering now is exactly what I want. It's merely the bones of the heavenly bone abyss dragon. Watch how I break through you. The moment the city is breached, there will be no survivors. Lord Mo Yun waved his hands as numerous devil giants walked out. They all transformed into devil giants and smashed their fists into the bone city. Furthermore, the reason why they attacked was so that the people in the city would tremble in fear. However, this was indeed the case. Because of the sounds of the attacks, the city was filled with explosions, causing the faces of all the devils to turn pale. The moment the city is breached, no survivors? This feeling of death slowly descending upon them was something that no one could endure. Ai old Gu, I've implicated you. The 10,000 layers devil general looked at Gu Zhantian with guilt. If they didn't come here to seek refuge, the Bone City wouldn't have met with such a calamity. Hehe, I'm indebted to the great Eastern Devil King for taking care of me in the past. Today I, Gu Zhantian, am able to repay him a little. I'm already satisfied. Furthermore, the flames of war will eventually implicate this place. Gu Zhantian shook his head and laughed. He looked around and discovered that his tribesmen were all pale but their gazes were resolute. This made him feel gratified. Their tribes were all good people. Even if they were to die, even if they were afraid, they wouldn't have any complaints. Ka. At this moment, the pitch-black bones in the sky began to crack. This change caused the expressions of all the devils in the city to change drastically. Old Gu, the battle of life and death has begun. The 10,000 layers devil general laughed bitterly. Gu Zhantian also laughed bitterly. Ka. The bones in the sky began to shatter and the cracks grew larger and larger. When all the bones were broken, the sky would no longer be covered and the army would slaughter their way in. Brothers, grab your weapons and prepare to fight to the death. Killing one won't be a loss, but killing two will be a gain. Gu Zhantian gritted his teeth as he spoke. His grip on the weapon in his hand tightened, and his voice caused the entire city to roar in anger. Even the 10,000 devil generals couldn't help but feel admiration for Gu Zhantian's tribe. Gu Zhantian's tribe was truly unyielding. Bang! At this moment, in the sky above the Bone City, the powerful demons were taking turns to attack. As for Lord Mo Yun and the others, they were watching the show and laughing. The city is about to be breached. Everyone, prepare to kill to your heart's content. Let me deal the final blow. A devil with an elephant trunk walked out. He was tall and sturdy, and he transformed into a 100-meter-tall devil elephant. Furthermore, he raised his legs high. It's Lord Xiang Liantian. The surrounding demons cheered and some even teased, my lord. I'm afraid your kick won't succeed. Only the next lord will be able to break through this city. Bullshit. Watch my power. The demonic elephant also let out an angry roar, which made Lord Mo Yun laugh out loud. His subordinates really knew how to please him. Trampling heaven and earth. Almost at the same time, that terrifying elephant leg ruthlessly smashed down. The aura it exuded was so terrifying that it directly stirred up the clouds. At this moment, the surrounding demons all stopped laughing. Not only that, their eyes all narrowed. They didn't doubt that that leg could trample the entire city. Boom! A thunderous boom rang out, shaking the hearts of everyone. As expected, that sturdy skeleton finally shattered, causing the bones to fall down like rain. The sunlight from the sky also shone into the city, as though it was the light of the god of death. Not only that, that pair of ferocious elephant legs didn't stop, and continued to stomp down ruthlessly. One could imagine how many people would die if that stomp landed on the city. Bang! But at this moment a muffled sound rang out. Under that terrifying elephant leg, a mysterious young man appeared out of nowhere. He blocked the gigantic elephant leg with a single hand, appearing extremely mysterious. That arm of his wasn't thick, but it gave off the feeling of a domineering overlord lifting a cauldron. Gee! This scene was undoubtedly extremely shocking, causing all the demons in the sky to suck in a breath of cold air. After all, That demonic elephant lord's leg wasn't something that anyone could block. Most people would end up being trampled into meat paste. In the Bone City, all the demons' expressions changed drastically. In their eyes, that figure under the dazzling sunlight was like a great demon king descending at this moment. Who is this person? Lord Mo Yun's expression turned cold. That person had ruined his plan? You're courting death. That demonic elephant was also furious. It roared towards the sky, and a wave of air rushed up to the sky. That elephant leg was lifted high up again, and then it smashed down ruthlessly. This leg was even more ferocious than the previous one. However, under everyone's gaze, that mysterious person floated in the sky like the god of death, and raised his right hand again. Bang! With just a light block, that terrifying leg was blocked again. Moreover, the young man stretched out his left hand and actually grabbed the demonic elephant's leg with his right hand. An indescribable force erupted at the same time, and the mountain-like demonic elephant was flipped over by him. Then the young man shouted angrily, "Get lost!" Boom! The 100-meter-tall demonic elephant was smashed into the ground in the distance, causing all the mountains to collapse. Booming sounds rang out continuously. Silence! In the sky of the Bone City, there was a deathly silence in the city. A seemingly thin and small body had actually flipped over the demonic elephant? Was this a dream? Even Lord Mo Yun's expression changed slightly. However, the demonic dragon cult beside him was worthy of being called a military advisor. It immediately smiled and said, "Sir, I don't know which great demon king is behind this. This kind of divine power has alarmed the demons. Not behind this, but there are a few brothers of the demons," the young man said in a hoarse voice as he patted the dust off his palms. Then he must be one of us." Hearing this, the demonic dragon cult immediately let out a sigh of relief. That was because he knew all the subordinates of the great demon king of the East, but he had never seen that mysterious person. Obviously, that mysterious person was from another great demon king. As for the other great demon kings, wasn't that equal to one of them? This time, the realm of true force has gathered the 100 million lives great demon kings, the crystal masters of the devil kingdom, and the 400 million great demon kings. Your Excellency should be under their control, the demonic dragon cult said with a smile. Under the gazes of everyone, that mysterious person laughed and said, "I don't know the 100 million lives great demon kings, but I've come into contact with quite a few crystal masters of the devil kingdom." Hearing this, the demonic dragon cult finally relaxed. So it was one of them. As for the Bone City, the expressions of Gu Zhantian and the others were extremely unsightly. As expected, this mysterious person was an enemy. It would be difficult for them to escape this calamity. However, just as they were preparing to fight to the death, the mysterious person in the sky had already turned his gaze over. He slowly removed his cloak and said, "Big brother, long time no see." The moment this voice rang out, the entire city fell silent. When Gu Zhantian and the others cast their gazes onto the face of the mysterious person, that handsome face and familiar silhouette caused their bodies to tremble violently. "Second brother. Sir." Chapter 21:16. You sneak attacked me? In the Bone City, the members of the Wings race were all agitated. Their eyes were wet with tears. Once, their Wings race encountered a great calamity, but a young man descended from the sky and saved their entire tribe. After that incident, they knew that the young man was the younger brother of their leader, Lin Ling from the mortal world. Today, the Wings race encountered another calamity. That godlike young man descended once more. Naturally, the him now could no longer be called a young man. He was more like an indomitable man. Second brother. Staring at the tall and slender figure in the air, Gu Zhantian's eyes grew even more moist. The young man who was protected by the ancient flame devil in the past no longer had the childishness on his face. His chiseled face now had a hint of resoluteness and coldness. Evidently, this young man had experienced many bitter battles during these years. The young man of the past had already surpassed him. The young man of today, even he, Gu Zhantian, had to look up to him. But luckily, this young man with the aura of an overlord was actually his, Gu Zhantian's brother. Long time no see. Lin Ling smiled as he waved his hands. "Sir." The cheers of the entire bone race grew even more frenzied. Who is this person? That general and his subordinates were all stunned. They could clearly see that after the arrival of this mysterious young man, the morale of the Wings race actually soared, completely different from before. Could it be that the Wings race really thought that this mysterious young man would be able to defeat Lord Devil Cloud and the others? He, an amazing person. Gu Zhantian heaved a sigh of relief. He took out a flask of wine and gulped it down. After that, he passed the flask to the Devil General beside him. Relax, after that fellow comes, let alone a mere Lord Demon Cloud. Even if the Grand Devil King is here, there's no need to fear him. Drinking wine. If it wasn't for the fact that Gu Zhantian seemed normal, the general would have thought that he had gone mad. In addition, would that young man in the air be able to save them? Naturally, Lord Devil Cloud and the others also felt that Lin Ling had gone mad. Although Lin Ling easily defeated the Devil Elephant Leg earlier, under Lord Devil Cloud, there wasn't just a single general with such strength. Sir, have you gone mad? If you insist on going against us, you will definitely die. The demonic dragon Colt stroked his beard and said coldly. At the side, Lord Mo Yun didn't have that much patience, and he let out a furious roar. How audacious! You even dare to ruin my matters. In his eyes, that was only a brat from the Moon Rabbit clan. Even if that brat had some ability, he was like an ant to him. Everyone could sense that Lord Mo Yun was enraged. Moreover, his killing intent was overflowing. It was hard to imagine how terrifying this somewhat perverted lord would be when he was enraged. He might even kill his own people. Numerous gazes by Lord Mo Yun's side instantly shot towards Lin Ling while burning with rage, and it was as if they were blaming Lin Ling for implicating them. I'll give you 10 breaths of time to escape. After 10 breaths, all of you will die. However, Lin Ling spat out a soft voice. These words undoubtedly infuriated Lord Mo Yun even more. Moreover, he felt extremely ashamed. He was being threatened by a brat from the Moon Rabbit clan? Kill him. Someone kill him. I'll do it. Lord Mo Yun, please calm down. I alone am enough to kill this brat. His arrogance knows no bounds. Those demons were so angry that their teeth were chattering. Even the demonic dragon Colt was complaining that Lin Ling was too arrogant. 9, 8, 7. However, Lin Ling was indifferent and calmly counted. Don't go. I want to see what kind of waves he can stir up after 10 breaths of time. Lord Mo Yun suddenly waved his hand. The more arrogant the other party was, the angrier he was. Therefore, he would wait and wait patiently. That's right. Those demons also spoke. They even leaned on their elbows and sneered at Lin Ling. Lin Ling shook his head and continued counting. When it was over, there were finally experts from the demons who couldn't hold back anymore. You're counting too slowly. I'm getting impatient from waiting. Demonic Chi swept out majestically. The black demonic Chi turned into a huge bat and attacked Lin Ling with a sound wave. Lord Mo by bat. The demons were excited because the law of sound was extremely rare and impossible to guard against. It could kill people without them noticing. Before the formless sound wave got close to Lin Ling, the bone city below shook. Gradually, many bones began to explode from the center like flowers blooming. This was the power of the law of sound. On the surface it was undetectable, but by the time you realized it, your body would have been shaken into meat paste. It was said that the powerful law of sound could reach the ground and make the world explode. Of course, Lord Mo by bat naturally didn't have such power. However, he believed that it wouldn't be difficult for him to kill Lin Ling. Buzz! The formless sound wave enveloped Lin Ling and echoed continuously, causing the demons below to feel pain in their ears. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. Under the leadership of Lord Mo Yun, I killed that arrogant junior. After the Mo by bat attacked, he immediately turned around and looked at Lord Mo Yun. His voice was filled with pride. In his opinion, that kid should have been shaken into pieces. Lord Mo Yun nodded with satisfaction. The demons beside him also had the same thought as the Mo by bat. As for the experts of the Wings tribe in the Bone City, they were also worried. Although they knew that Lord Lin Ling was very powerful, his opponent was a martial emperor. Unfortunately, would Lin Ling die so easily? They had underestimated Lin Ling's godly demon body. Boom! In the sound wave storm, a punch was thrown. The Bat flapped his large bat wings and was still waiting for the punch. However, when the punch came, the law of space whistled. Whoosh! His wings were torn apart by the law of space and blood dripped out. You sneak attacked me. The intense pain made the Bat roar angrily. He turned around and glared at Lin Ling. That kid didn't die? Lord Yun and the others were slightly surprised. However, they were soon enraged. That arrogant kid actually sneak attacked? What a bunch of pitiful demons. They had 10 breaths of time to escape, but they missed it. How pitiful. However, under their gazes, Lin Ling shook his head coldly and slowly reached for the ancient sword behind him. If you hadn't sneak attacked me, I would have killed you earlier. Hearing Lin Ling's cold words, the Bat was even more furious. Sneak attacked. Lin Ling sneered and slowly pulled out the tyrannical song sword with his right hand. Watch carefully. Next, I will kill you with one stroke. What? Hearing that, the Bat and the other demons were stunned. Then their anger surged like a tide. Arrogant. Who is this guy? Why is he so arrogant? Come on, let me see what you're capable of. It was the first time the Bat had met such an arrogant person. He was a rank 2 martial emperor and was a commander under the great demon king. Who dared to be so arrogant to him? Swoosh! Almost as soon as he spoke, a sword slashed out. The sharp space was like a thunderbolt. In an instant, it arrived in front of the Bat and grew bigger in his eyes. Fast. Too fast. The Bat opened his mouth wide. Before he could react, he was cut in half. Moreover, the law of space continued to wreak havoc and tore him apart. Sneak attack? Chapter 21:17. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. One man with one sword against an army of thousands. The moment those words were spoken, the demons felt as though they had lost all their faith. Especially Lord Yun. His throat emitted a low growl. Sneak attack? Previously Lin Ling had worn the demon brushbat. But so what? Wasn't he still killed with a single sword? Good. Below the Bone City, Gu Zhantian and the rest cheered excitedly. Lord Lin Ling was stronger than they had imagined. As for Lord Yun, he was silent. After all, the demon brushbat was a level 2 martial emperor. Now that it was killed with a single sword, it showed how powerful the Moon Rabbit clan kid was. Even in the entire demon city, he would be a senior commander. What made them depressed was that none of them actually knew such a powerhouse. All of you can die now, Lin Ling said calmly, as though he was talking about something normal. The spatial laws on the tyrannical song sword in his hand became even more frenzied. He took a step forward and using the speed of space, he appeared in front of one of the demons. You're here to kill me? That demon transformed into a huge blood crocodile and opened its bloody mouth. A mysterious law was spat out. It was the law of biting. When it was powerful, it could even split the sea. Swoosh! Unfortunately, what welcomed it was a sword. An incomparably dazzling sword. The huge blood crocodile's mouth was slashed open, and its huge body was split into 2. Could not block the sword at all. Most importantly, it was too easy for the sword to kill it. So powerful. In the Bone City, all the demons were shocked and their eyes were filled with admiration. Killing a demon with a single sword. Only Lord Lin Ling could do it. Kill him. The demon clan members were shocked. Then they roared angrily. They did not believe that Lin Ling could kill all of them by himself. Unfortunately, when the truth appeared, they had no choice but to believe it. Boom! At this moment, a huge ape fist smashed onto Lin Ling's head. That demon roared into the sky, thinking that his fist had dealt a fatal blow to Lin Ling. Your fist is big, but it's too weak. But in the next moment, a cold voice rang in his ears, causing the ape's eyes to widen. In his eyes, the puny Moon Rabbit clan kid was unharmed. Whoosh! Then he ended its life with a single slash. What a powerful physical body. Old Gu, who is that expert? He's too abnormal. The myriad demon general was so shocked that he couldn't close his mouth. Whoosh! Another sword slashed out. On the side of the devil race, a few more people were killed. They were unstoppable. Blood rained down from the sky. In the sky above Bone City, one man and one sword fought against 1,000 soldiers. A rank 2 martial emperor with 50,000 rules. Not bad at all. However, these rules are not enough to defeat us. Finally, Lord Mo Yun's voice rang out. Previously, he had been silent. In fact, he was looking at Lin Ling's strength. Who would have thought that after seeing it, he would be surprised? Normally, a second-level martial emperor would only have 30,000 laws, but Lin Ling had 50,000 laws. This showed how talented he was. However, to Mo Yun, Lin Ling was also considered half a demon race genius, but could not compare to him. Is Lord Mo Yun prepared to make a move? He is the number 2 genius under the 400 million Great Demon King, a third-level martial emperor with 60,000 laws. In Bone City, the Myriad Demon General said with a serious face. He also knew that no matter how powerful Lin Ling was, if he could not defeat Mo Yun, everything was just empty talk. This also meant that the most crucial battle had arrived. Don't worry, he will definitely win. He is the representative of fighting above his level. Within 300 rounds, he will be able to return alive. Seeing the battle in the sky, Gu Zhantian clenched his fist and said confidently. The Myriad Demon General sucked in a breath of cold air. Defeat Mo Yun in 300 rounds? Isn't he too confident? Just watch. Gu Zhantian said confidently. You should have heard of me. I am the number 2 genius under the 400 million Great Demon King, and also one of the top 10 geniuses of the demon domain. My name is Mo Yun. In the sky, Lord Mo Yun stared at Lin Ling with a cold smile on his face. If you are killed by me, you better not beg for mercy. I don't like people who beg for mercy. I prefer people who have a strong backbone and scold me before they die. His personality was still as perverted as before. Lin Ling could also be considered a genius. Killing such a genius would be even more satisfying. I'm sorry, I've never heard of your name before. However, Lin Ling didn't even look at him. He even slashed out with his sword, killing a demon in the distance. Such words and such an attitude undoubtedly caused Lord Mo Yun's face to turn red. He thought that Lin Ling would treat him seriously. Who would have thought that Lin Ling didn't even put him in his eyes? I'll let you see how powerful I am. Lord Mo Yun also knew that facts prevailed over sophistry, so he erupted with the terrifying power of law. The wings behind him spread open, and he transformed into a completely black bird. This bird had a ferocious appearance, and it had 3 heads. Each head represented a type of law, and they were respectively ominous chi, demonic chi, and devilish chi. Moreover, his laws had madly increased, surpassing 60,000 and reaching 70,000. As expected of one of the top 10 geniuses of the demon race, he actually possesses 70,000 laws at this level. He's probably not much weaker than the 6 young demon kings of the past. Sensing the terrifying laws in the sky, Lord Mo Yun's expression became even more solemn. As for the others, Lord Mo Yun was as tall as a mountain that they could never reach. Unfortunately, Lin Ling shook his head. 70,000 laws. It was too far from the 6 young demon kings of the past. It seemed that the younger generation of the demon race had also declined. My 3 great laws have the power to bind, defend, and attack. They're the most perfect laws. Moreover, on the surface, I seem to possess 70,000 laws, but in reality, I can fight 100,000 law adepts. A roar came from the black bird, shocking countless people. Lord Mo Yun was too strong. He was also a genius that could fight above his level. Good. The morale of the demon race rose even higher. When I followed the 400 million great demon kings to fight all over the world, where were you? If I hadn't gone into seclusion, I would have participated in the 4-clan competition and won first place. However, a real genius will rise when it's time. After today's matter in the true martial world is over, I will go to the mortal world and let the 4 clans know how powerful I am. The blackbird's aura became even crazier. His lofty ambition made the demon race in the Bone City suck in a breath of cold air. They were shocked by Lord Mo Yun's ambition and strength. If you go to the mortal world, the 4 clans will know how powerful your nonsense is. At this time, Lin Ling finally interrupted him indifferently. That was because the other party was indeed talking too much nonsense. Then he slashed out with his sword. The law of space roared crazily at this moment, forming a storm, causing the space in the sky to crack. It seemed as if the boundary of the true martial world was about to be broken. What a powerful sword! Everyone had difficulty breathing. The pressure increased, and they immediately stared at Lin Ling. That was because they noticed that the laws of space had increased crazily, reaching 100,000. 100,000. Chapter 21:18. Grand Wedding. Lord Mo Yun originally wanted to say something, but at this moment, he roared in anger. His three bird heads frenziedly unleashed the power of laws. Flames, mountain ranges and clouds appeared, wanting to block Lin Ling's sword with all his might. At this moment, the spectators below him all grew nervous. Were these two experts finally going to clash? Sadly, the next scene caused them to be dumbfounded. Boom! Everywhere that dazzling sword passed, it was like slicing through tofu. The flames, mountain ranges and clouds were all slashed apart. Baleful aura and devil chi gushed out in all directions. Under the gazes of countless people, one of the top 10 geniuses of the devil region was slain by a single sword strike. Irony! How ironic! That devil genius still wanted to shake the heavens and earth, but in the end he was slain by a single sword strike. With such strength, it was impossible for him to obtain the number 1 position in the 4-race competition. Below the Bone City, the devil general opened his mouth wide. He was so shocked that he was speechless. He thought that the battle would last for 300 rounds, but in the end it was merely a single sword strike. Wasn't this sword strike too tyrannical? Not only that, he could faintly see that the mysterious young man slaying Mo Yun seemed to be extremely relaxed. Even Gu Zhantian, who was familiar with Lin Ling, couldn't help but draw in a breath of cold air. He felt like he was in a dream, because that familiar young man seemed to be getting further and further away from him. The height of that young man was so high that even if he looked up, he wouldn't be able to see him. But very soon he grew excited, because this young man was none other than his second brother, Lin Ling. What level of strength does this fellow have? After a short moment of shock, those devils all drew in a breath of cold air. Their eyes were filled with trepidation as they stared at Lin Ling. If you guys join forces, you might still have a chance. Lin Ling's expression was as cold as ever. Stretching out his left hand, a mysterious white flame danced about. To him, if he couldn't slay Mo Yun with a single sword strike, he wouldn't be qualified to be the number 1 in the 4-race competition. Joining forces? Is there no way out? Since this is the case, let's kill him. Maybe we might still have a chance. Those devils consoled themselves in their hearts. After that, they all lunged towards Lin Ling. In reality, they also knew that even if they joined forces, they wouldn't be a match for Lin Ling. However, they had no other choice. Rumble. At the same time, the mysterious 6 paths of reincarnation appeared in the sky. Flames seemed to be burning the sky, and a terrifying suction force was born. Not only did it suck in the demons, it even sucked in some of the weaker demonic beasts on the ground. It could destroy everything in the world. No. One after another, voices of unwillingness drifted out. Those devils could only watch helplessly as they died and disappeared into the reincarnation circle. They couldn't help but recall Lin Ling's words from before. If they didn't escape within 10 breaths of time, they would all die. At that time, they thought that he was speaking nonsense, but now they didn't think so anymore. Second brother, leave that white-bearded demon behind. At this moment, Gu Zhantian's voice drifted over from the Bone City, causing Lin Ling to nod his head. Stretching out his right hand, that devil dragon steed lost control of itself and floated towards Lin Ling. My lord, please spare my life. The demonic dragon colt seemed to have aged 100 years in an instant. Pa! Lin Ling gave him a slap. Cut the crap. He glanced at Gu Zhantian, his eyes filled with bewilderment. This man used to be the military advisor of the Eastern Devil King. Hence, he should know where the Eastern Devil King is imprisoned, as well as the locations of his other subordinates. Gu Zhantian led the group up into the sky. Everyone stared at Lin Ling, who was standing in the air as their hearts pounded. A single person fighting against 1,000, and he seemed to be doing so effortlessly. Such strength was truly admirable. The Myriad Layers Devil General was even more so, because he was the clearest on how strong Mo Yun and the others were. And when Lin Ling heard Gu Zhantian's words, he turned his gaze onto the demonic dragon colt. At this moment, the demonic dragon colt's heart trembled. He suddenly thought of using this to threaten Lin Ling. Didn't that mean that Lin Ling wouldn't dare to kill him easily? Playing tricks in front of me? You will suffer a fate worse than death. Sadly, Lin Ling had fought countless battles in his life and had seen all sorts of people. Hence he coldly laughed. Just a single sentence and a single glance caused the demonic dragon colt to feel fear. He even told Qin Wentian everything he knew. Powerful, there's no need for any schemes. He directly used his overwhelming strength to tyrannically destroy everything. This is what a true expert is like. Staring at this scene, the Myriad Layers Devil General felt admiration in his heart. Because the demonic dragon colt was the military advisor, it would be extremely difficult to get information out of him. Who would have thought that Lin Ling would be able to make the demonic dragon colt kowtow to him with just a single sentence? I've already told you everything I know. Please spare me. The demonic dragon colt kowtowed unceasingly. I didn't promise not to kill you. Stop. Lin Ling hated traitors the most. Hence, he directly crushed the demonic dragon colt's neck and tossed the corpse to the ground. Following which, he furrowed his brows. Previously, the demonic dragon colt had said that the Great Eastern Devil King and Xiao Meng were imprisoned. Moreover, they were scattered in every corner of the true martial world. The most important thing was that they all had the exterminating immortal bone rune chains on their bodies. These chains could kill any martial emperor and leave behind their essence for others to use. Most importantly, these chains were powerful immortal weapons. Once one was bound, one would only end up dead unless one was rescued. This billion lives demon king is ruthless. Lin Ling's eyes turned cold. There was no time to lose. He had to save the Eastern Devil King as soon as possible. How can we save him? With our manpower, it's impossible to save him. Moreover, even if we can get to that place, how can we break the chains? The Myriad Layers Devil General furrowed his brows and looked at Lin Ling. Although he was curious about Lin Ling's identity at this moment, his backbone was also on this mysterious young man. With my disciple here, it's enough. Lin Ling looked into the distance and saw Sword Immortal Tsong Tian, and the others walking towards him with a smile. The Myriad Layers Devil General was stunned. Where did these people come from? However, Lin Ling then explained. When the Myriad Layers Devil General knew the identity of Sword Immortal Tsong Tian, he was instantly overjoyed. With 3 ancient giants here, apart from the Eastern Devil King, who could stop them? As for the chains, although the enchantment is not bad, this billion lives demon king is still too inexperienced to play with enchantments in front of me. Lin Ling said confidently. May I ask who you are? At this moment, the Myriad Layers Devil General was even more curious about Lin Ling's identity. Moreover, he was also curious about his background. Because to have 3 ancient giants as his disciples, this was too crazy. I'm Lin Ling. Lin Ling smiled slightly. Without a doubt, his words made the Myriad Layers Devil General's expression change drastically. This was Lin Ling, the rising star that even the Eastern Devil King could not stop praising. Greetings, my lord. They immediately knelt down. The Myriad Layers Devil General was even more excited. Lin Ling, Princess Gur is getting married today. Compared to the Eastern Devil King, Princess Gur is more important. What? Hearing this, Lin Ling's expression changed drastically. Xian Yuan Gur was getting married today. Chapter 21:19. 10 men in one step. Suddenly, a very bad feeling arose in his heart. In his previous life, Li Xiaoyao had promised Xian Yuan Gur that he would wait until the day he returned to the realm of true martial. Unfortunately, Xian Yuan Gur had already passed away. Would it be the same in this life? With Xian Yuan Gur's temperament, she definitely wouldn't marry easily, so the only outcome was suicide. In that case, Lin Ling would miss out on Xian Yuan Gur again. Lin Ling couldn't help but feel pain in his heart when he thought of the young girl who had waited for him for tens of thousands of years without any complaints. You guys go save the great demon king of the East. I'll go save Xian Yuan Gur. Lin Ling pondered for a moment and said immediately. His eyes were filled with anxiety. Lord Lin Ling, you can't. Today's wedding will be held by the 3 great demon kings of the demon region. You can't go alone. Master will accompany you. Sword Immortal Tsong Tian and the others quickly said, which made Lin Ling shake his head. If you guys go with me, then who will go save the great demon king of the East and the others? The great demon king of the East is also in a hurry. If he is even a step slower, their lives will be in danger. Listen to my orders and go save them immediately. As for breaking the immortal bone text chains, I will leave the way to break the enchantment for you guys. Hearing this, Sword Immortal Tsong Tian and the others wanted to say something. However, they knew that Lin Ling was a stubborn person. Once he made up his mind, nobody could change his mind. Alright, then let's go and save the great demon king of the East and the others as soon as possible. After everything is over, we'll immediately go and find Master. Sword Immortal Tsong Heaven and the others said. Time was indeed tight. They had to make good use of every minute and every second. Xian Yuan Gu'er and I are fated to be married. Unfortunately, the heavens are blind and let fate continue. Today I will break this fate. Lin Ling took a deep breath. His eyes were filled with determination. Then, he nodded to the others and strode away. Lord Lin Ling is such a sentimental person. For Princess Gu'er, he would climb a mountain of swords and dive into a sea of flames. The demon general Wan Zhong looked at Lin Ling's back with deep admiration. Stop talking nonsense. Lead the way. Sword Immortal Tsong Tian and the others were all trapped in different corners of the realm of true martial arts. And the great demon king of the East. As for Lin Ling, he was traveling alone. His destination was Dreamlike Mountain. Is that guy going to fight alone? Crazy. Not long after Lin Ling left, a cloaked figure appeared. Her beautiful eyes looked into the distance, and she was also extremely shocked. After eavesdropping, she knew that guy's name. Who would have thought that he was Lin Ling, the reincarnation of Li Xiaoyao? However, unlike the rumors, this Lin Ling was loyal and righteous. For a promise of fate, he chose to go against the three great demon kings. She could imagine that if given more time, this Lin Ling would be able to rule the world. Therefore, it was obviously not a very good decision to go to the battle alone. But Lin Ling still went. That girl called Xian Yuan Gu'er. She makes me curious. The mysterious cloaked man smiled. Then he chased after Lin Ling. Dreamlike Mountain was located in a big city. At this moment, the city was crowded with people. The top experts of the demon realm had gathered here to share the good news of the demon realm. I heard that the great demon king of the East is cute. She is a little witch. I envy the high priest for getting her. Nonsense. In my opinion, the high priest and that little witch are a match made in heaven. That's right. I heard that after the high priest marries that little witch, the high priest will become the master of the realm of true force. In the streets and alleys, cheers rang out continuously. It was as if the entire city was celebrating. At this moment, a slender figure walked over from the huge city gate. His face was anxious, causing him to be extremely cold. Bang! On the way, he bumped into a tall demon, which made the demon furious. However, the young man looked over with a cold gaze. His seemingly handsome face was filled with a terrifying killing intent. Plop! With just a glance, the rhinoceros-like demon knelt down. He was so scared that he knelt down. What a terrifying gaze. He couldn't bear it at all. After the young man stared at him, he did not say a word and walked quickly toward the city gate. Wait, do you have an invitation to enter the city? Although the top experts of the demon realm had arrived, there were still people guarding the city gate. Of course, it was just for show. However, who knew that the handsome young man would shout coldly, "Get lost." As soon as he said that, the armored demons were stunned. They were just asking a routine question. Who knew that this guy would be so arrogant? Haha, sir, you must be drunk. Although you should be the subordinate of some great demon king, it's better to be polite. One of the older demons laughed. Whoosh! With a slash of the sword, the demon's head fell. That slash showed him what it meant to be polite. The city gate was in a state of shock. Because those guards were just for show. The young man could easily enter the city with just a casual sentence. Who knew that the young man was in a hurry? He did not even bother to talk nonsense. Those who blocked his way were killed immediately. Your Excellency, what are you doing? The faces of the other guards immediately turned cold. Could it be that this guy had gone crazy? Great creation. Unfortunately, what greeted them was a cold slash of the sword, which was filled with killing intent. Puff! 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 More than a dozen heads flew into the air, and the young man immediately entered the city. When those heads fell to the ground, the demons at the city gate finally reacted. Every one of them was so frightened that their faces turned pale. There was a sea of people in the city. However, a large number of demons were wearing armor and had arrived in an orderly manner. Previously, they had heard that someone had forced their way in, so they had come to stop the intruders. Moreover, they were extremely angry because today was the wedding day of the high priest. Who dared to cause trouble here? On the street, the indifferent young man quickly passed by. The cold killing intent on his body caused the entire street to feel as if it had fallen into an ice cellar. "Sir, you!" When those guards saw the young man, they immediately shouted angrily. However, what answered them was a slash of the sword. Puff! More than a dozen heads flew into the air. It was clean and neat. It was a shocking sight. "You're crazy!" The faces of all the guards changed drastically. "Killing without a second word? This person is too arrogant." They had just raised the weapons in their hands, but in the next moment, a sword slashed at them. Puff! Another large number of heads flew into the air. "I'll kill whoever stops me." The young man was Lin Ling. In fact, he did not even look at the guards on the street. His gaze had already landed on Dreamlike Mountain. As for the demons in front of him, they were answered with a slash of the sword. Whoosh! Sword light flashed and blood was shed on the street. The surrounding demons could only see that the terrifying swordsman killed one person with every 10 steps. No, in reality he killed 10 people with every step. Chapter 21:20. In this life he did not come late. Congratulations, Billion Life Demon King. High Priest, the #1 genius of the demon area. Marrying the daughter of the Eastern Demon King is a well-deserved achievement. Today the entire demon area is bustling with noise and excitement. Everyone is talking about this marriage and is in favor of this marriage. Cheers rang out one after another. Looking carefully, it was divided into 3 camps. It was the camp of Billion Life Demon King, Demon Kingdom's Crystal Master, and 400 Life Demon King. Under them there were countless experts. Demon geniuses were as common as clouds. However, those demon geniuses were all looking at a handsome young man. At this moment, that young man was in high spirits and his spirit was trembling. It was obvious that today was a day of great joy. To be able to shake the entire demon area because of him, he was very proud. Is that the #1 genius of the demon area, High Priest? Yes. I can feel that his strength is unfathomable. Yes. I heard that his current strength has already surpassed the former Pink Crown Prince. Yes. Many demon geniuses looked up at the High Priest, dreaming that one day they could be like the High Priest and shake the entire demon area. The time has come. Go, Eastern Demon King's daughter. Yes. At this time, Billion Life Demon King smiled faintly. He was very satisfied with his son's current glory. Yes. Yes. The High Priest smiled and nodded. Looking at the misty snow mountain in front of him, he could not help but smile. I heard that the Eastern Demon King's daughter is very beautiful. She is as cute as a little witch but also very sexy. Looks like I can have a good time tonight. Under countless envious gazes, the High Priest gracefully stepped onto Dreamlike Mountain. Will the snow on Dreamlike Mountain never stop? Yes. On Dreamlike Mountain a clear voice like a bell rang out. A young girl wearing a black dress smiled at the beautiful snow in the sky. She did not seem to have heard the lively scene at the foot of the mountain. Girl, I'm here. Yes. At this time a handsome figure stepped onto Dreamlike Mountain. Moreover, he flung his long hair in what he thought was a dashing manner. Why didn't you change into a red robe? Wearing a black dress is inauspicious. How about I help you change? Yes. It was the High Priest. The moment he laid eyes on Xian Yuanguer, his heart began to thump violently. She was so beautiful that he found it hard to extricate himself. Therefore, there was only one voice in his heart, and that was that this beautiful girl belonged to him. Idiot! Xian Yuanguer indifferently glanced at the High Priestess. With a wave of his hand, the 3 songs of heaven, earth and man appeared. A mysterious power floated out from the book. After this song ends, I will also disappear from this world and enter the cycle of reincarnation. She smiled. Her smile was very carefree. Although she had entered the cycle of reincarnation, she believed that she would still see him in her next life. Even if she couldn't do it in her next life, then she would do it in her next life. Fate, there will be an end to one's life. The melodious voice was like the sound of nature, suddenly coming from the top of dreamlike mountain, causing the devils at the foot of the mountain to be stunned, each and every one of them to be intoxicated. On the top of the mountain, the high priestess was also stunned for a moment. Then she stared at the girl under the tree, and the love in her heart grew even stronger. She was more beautiful than he had imagined. This was the sound of nature. Fresh flowers appeared in his hand, and he walked over step by step. "Go or marry me." He let out the most sincere voice in his life, but the pride in his heart grew even stronger. This was because, other than him, who else was worthy of the little devil girl who represented the realm of demons? "I already have a lover in my heart." Xian Yuangur also smiled. On her small face there was a happy smile, but she coldly rejected him. "Who?" The high priestess was stunned, and a murderous look appeared on her handsome face. "Someone you don't have the right to know." Xian Yuangur shook her head. Suddenly a mysterious power turned into a melody, and swept towards the high priestess like an avalanche. She attacked the high priestess. This was the 3 songs of heaven, earth, and man. "You're courting death." However, the high priestess was the #1 genius in the realm of demons, and her strength was naturally above the rest. Xian Yuangur's sneak attack naturally couldn't hurt her. Bang! When the high priestess counterattacked, the powerful force destroyed the melody, causing Xian Yuangur to spit out a mouthful of blood. She then fell to the ground, and her small face became even more gloomy. Do you want to die?" The high priestess's face turned cold. He couldn't understand why Xian Yuangur didn't value him with his talent and appearance. "I never thought of living." Xian Yuangur was not surprised at all. Instead, she smiled slightly. "You." These words undoubtedly made the high priestess furious. He said coldly, "Today the entire realm of demons is watching me. So, whether you agree or not, this marriage will go on. When I'm tired of you, if you want to die, I'll let you." As soon as he finished speaking, he strode forward. "Dream on." Xian Yuangur's beautiful eyes focused. The power of the 3 songs of heaven, earth, and man that she had been brewing earlier quietly flowed into her body. She wouldn't let that scoundrel have his way. She would rather die. In the face of powerful strength, sometimes it's difficult to even die. What surprised her was that the high priestess had seen through her scheme. She was attacked by a mysterious force that destroyed her 3 songs of heaven, earth, and man. She couldn't die even if she wanted to. Don't go too far. Xian Yuangur finally panicked. She had left her past life and this life to one person. If that person didn't appear, she would rather reincarnate. But now she couldn't reincarnate. Tonight I'll take good care of you." The high priestess revealed a sinister smile. The more pleasant Xian Yuangur was, the more he wanted to torture her. Xian Yuangur became more and more panicked. But in the face of powerful strength, she obviously didn't have the ability to resist. However, at this moment there was a turbulent airwave in the distance. A slender figure stepped on the clouds and flew toward dreamlike mountain under countless gazes. This unforeseen event undoubtedly shocked the demon realm. Because the high priestess was bringing Xian Yuangur down from dreamlike mountain, everyone looked up to her. But someone had overestimated himself and went up dreamlike mountain. Wasn't this a slap to the high priestess's face? "How dare you? You're too lawless. Let him be. The high priestess will prove herself." The great demon king's faces were cold, but the 100 million lives great demon king smiled confidently. At this moment on the peak of dreamlike mountain, Xian Yuangur stared at the figure in front of her. Her heart felt as if it had been struck by lightning. That familiar silhouette, that clean blue robe and everything else. Wasn't that the man she dreamed of? In her past life her man came, but unfortunately, he was too late. In this life her man finally didn't come too late. Xian Yuangur couldn't help but smile. But it was a happy smile. She was afraid that all of this was just a dream. But reality told her that it wasn't a dream. After waiting for thousands of lifetimes, her man finally came to pick her up. "Who are you?" In front of Xian Yuangur, The high priestess's face was extremely ugly. Did that person want to humiliate him? Get down. Chapter 21-21. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. I'll bring you to kill someone. I'm her man. However, the mysterious man's next words were heard by the entire city. I'm her man? Xianyuan Ge'er's man? Boom! It was as if a bomb had been thrown into the city, causing it to explode. You're fucking courting death. The high priest's face was as black as the bottom of a nest. Was he trying to steal his wife in front of the entire demon region? He looked up at the sky in anger, wanting to kill that arrogant person. However, when he looked carefully, a foot had already appeared in front of his face. It was fast, unbelievably fast. Bang! A foot came crashing down from the sky. At the peak of Dreamlike Mountain, the high priest was stomped into the ground, his white robes becoming wretched. You're trying to steal my wife? Get lost. However, just as the high priest was stomped into the ground, a foot came crashing down on his stomach, causing him to spit out blood and fly out like a meteor. At the foot of Dreamlike Mountain, countless people watched as a meteor drew a beautiful arc before crashing into the foot of Dreamlike Mountain. It had to be said that it was a beautiful arc. Bang! When the meteor landed, the hearts of the demon region clanked. He, a person who overestimates himself. If not for today's wedding, he wouldn't have ended up being sent flying. His luck is not bad, he managed to keep his life. The demon region clansmen thought that the person who was sent flying was the one who had a death wish. Who the fuck are you? However, when the figure on the ground got up in a sorry state, all the demon region clansmen's jaws dropped. This was because in front of them was a white-robed youth. However, his robes were covered in mud and his long hair was messy, making him look extremely ungentlemanly. Most importantly, this person was the high priest and not the mysterious man. He had gone to Dreamlike Mountain to marry the demon region's first princess. But he ended up being kicked out of Dreamlike Mountain? When this thought appeared, the foot of Dreamlike Mountain fell into a deathly silence. He sneaked an attack on me. The high priest's hair was messy as he roared. Feeling utterly humiliated, Billion Life Demon King was naturally the same. In fact, he felt even more humiliated than the high priest. This was because the other demon kings beside him were secretly laughing. After all, the demons were straightforward. If a man's wife was snatched away by someone else, this kind of thing would naturally make others laugh their heads off. I'll go kill him. Silent laughter filled the air, causing the high priestess to tremble. Without any hesitation, she angrily climbed up the Dreamlike Mountain. At this moment, Dreamlike Mountain was still as beautiful as ever. The gigantic ancient trees swayed with the wind, as though they were still drifting despite the passage of time. Under the ancient tree, the young girl looked at the man in front of her with excitement. Here it comes. Her wait had finally come. Her delicate body began to tremble. She was sure that it wasn't a dream, because she was too familiar with the man she thought about day and night. And for that man she had waited for thousands of lifetimes. Fate is over. In this life I won't wait until I'm at my strongest. I won't let my life be filled with regrets. The handsome young man enunciated each word clearly. A faint smile appeared on his face as he extended his hand and caught the falling snow. Although his smile was very calm, it carried an unquestionable determination. The two of them had been fated to meet for thousands of lifetimes. Every time the young man was at his strongest, the young girl would have already left. However, in this life, the young man did not choose to come when he was at his strongest because he could no longer pass her by. He wanted to end this fate. Yes, I've waited for thousands of lifetimes. I've finally waited for you. Xianyuan Ge'er's beautiful eyes were already moist. Crystalline tears seemed to flow out in torrents. Under the snow, she looked even more beautiful. I won't let you enter Samsara alone again. The young man walked forward step by step. Before he reached Xianyuan Ge'er, he had already extended his hand. In his hand was the snow that had yet to melt. In this life he wanted to break his fate. He wanted to take the young girl's hand and leave this place. Yes, 1,000 words could not describe the excitement in the young girl's heart. She could only nod numbly, or rather nod in bliss. Wait, there are 3 demon kings gathered at the foot of the mountain. What do we do? Xianyuan suddenly said with a frown. Lin Ling had not reached his strongest level to receive her, so he would have to face this predicament. Lin Ling shook his head and did not say a word. He held Xianyuan's hand and walked down the mountain. I'll take you to kill. This sentence was like a promise. It was like a determination. If God blocked them, they would kill God. If Buddha blocked them, they would destroy Buddha. It was also because any oath of eternal love was not important. What was important was the protection of this sentence. Let go of her hand or I'll kill you. As the two slowly walked away, a furious roar sounded from the mountainside of Dreamlike Mountain. It was the high priest. From afar he saw Xianyuan being held by a man as they slowly walked down the mountain. This made his anger erupt like a volcano. Today, was he going to be a supporting character? Was he going to let all the demons at the foot of the mountain see him as a joke? He could not do it. He could not wait for the man and woman to walk down the mountain. Otherwise, he would never be able to raise his head in the infernal domain. You are not qualified. However, after his angry voice, a cold voice drifted over from the front. The voice even had an unparalleled dominance. And faster than the voice, a figure shot over like a shooting star. Furthermore, that figure was still holding Xianyuan's hand. Phew! The wind blew past her ears, causing Xianyuan's hair to flutter. She was being held by the man in front of her. The man she had waited for thousands of lifetimes was bringing her to kill. This feeling of being protected was blissful. Pung! A fist appeared in the high priest's stomach. It was like a punch from an Azura demon king. Demonic aura surged out crazily. The high priest was still hooting, but the person who had arrived was too fast. The speed was too fast, and most terrifying of all, the strength was too strong. When the fist struck his stomach again, his face contorted. Whoosh! Like a shooting star, he shot down the mountain again. This time he was like a stray dog. Although he was the #1 genius in the infernal domain, Lin Ling was the #1 genius in the Four Clans competition. The two of them could not be compared at all. It could be said that other than the great demon king of the infernal domain, Lin Ling could do whatever he wanted in the infernal domain. So powerful. Seeing the high priest fly away like a shooting star, Xianyuan covered her mouth in surprise. She then looked at the handsome man in front of her and realized that his side profile was as sharp as a knife. However, his dominance and coldness did not diminish at all. Bring me to kill? She recalled what the young man had said before, and the joy in her heart grew even stronger. At this moment, at the foot of Dreamlike Mountain, everyone saw another shooting star shoot down. Instantly, the foot of the mountain fell silent. This time it couldn't be the high priest again, right? He was the #1 genius in the infernal domain. Pung! When the shooting star hit the ground, everyone saw that it was the high priest again. This was the second time. Was that guy here to play the role of a clown? Moreover, the groom was in such a sorry state. Even the 100 million lives demon king felt embarrassed. They are coming down. At this moment, a demon exclaimed and pointed in the direction of Dreamlike Mountain. Chapter 21-22. Killing in all directions. So beautiful. Although the high priestess was very outstanding, they had to admit that that pair was a match made in heaven. The high priestess seemed like an overconfident passerby who was trying to snatch someone's love away from them. You motherfucker, snatching my wife. Who are you? What right do you have? At this moment, the high priest climbed up from the ground and pointed at the Dreamlike Mountain as he shouted. The person who had come had not injured him, but had instead sent him flying time and time again. This was undoubtedly humiliating him time and time again, and also telling everyone that he, the high priest, was not qualified. Kill him. The high priest roared, his voice filled with killing intent. He wanted the mysterious intruder dead. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. A large number of demons flew toward Dreamlike Mountain. They were the trusted aides of the 100 million lives demon king. Clearly, they knew that the great demon king had made a fool of himself today, so they had to kill that despicable intruder as soon as possible. Brat, you came to the wrong place to behave atrociously at Dreamlike Mountain. Moonrabbit clan? Just a cowardly demon, and you dare to be so arrogant. Let me tell you, you are not qualified to be the bridegroom's high priest. The demon's ferocious auras surged, sweeping toward Lin Ling. The demons at the foot of the mountain were also looking forward to it. In fact, they did not know who the mysterious intruder was, but it seemed to be from the Moon Rabbit clan. The trash of the Moon Rabbit clan was also so bold? This had to be said to be beyond their imagination. As for Xian Yuan, she frowned and almost wanted to stand in front of Lin Ling to block the storm for Lin Ling. However, the hand that held her hand tightened, stopping her from making any unnecessary moves. Qualified. Let me show you what it means to be qualified. Lin Ling coldly spat out as he stared at the demons. His left hand held onto Xian Yuan, and his right hand reached behind him. The Tyrant Song sword was in his hand. With a sword in hand, he slaughtered in all directions. Whoosh! A dazzling sword slashed out, and blood rained down from the sky. The tall demons were split in two. Whoosh! The demons in front of him were also split in two. Some of them even had their upper bodies in a forward position, while their lower bodies fell to the ground. Whoosh! Whoosh! Slash after slash. Lin Ling held Xian Yuan's hand and slowly walked down the mountain. Those swords looked like they were casually swung out. However, with each sword strike, the wind and clouds would surge, killing without mercy. So powerful. Is this really the Moon Rabbit race? This shocking scene undoubtedly shocked all the demons at the foot of the mountain. The 100 million lives Demon King was so angry that his face turned red. He was almost ready to attack, but he restrained himself. Today was the High Priest's wedding. With his seniority, he would lose even more face if he attacked. After all, the other party was only one person. Amazing! Xian Yuan's beautiful eyes looked at the indifferent young man in front of her. Other than shock, she was still shocked. When did Lin Ling become so strong? Killing demons was as easy as chopping vegetables. Regarding this, Lin Ling smiled, but his heart was heavy because the real enemy was still at the foot of the mountain. Kill him. I don't believe that a mere Moon Rabbit race can overturn the heavens. Looking at the rivers of blood on the mountain, the High Priest was so angry that he no longer had any demeanor. He only wanted to cut Lin Ling into 18 pieces. Kill. I also don't believe that you can overturn the heavens. Even more devils pounced on Lin Ling, and this time, their aura was even more terrifying. The entire sky was filled with devils, and they even covered the entire dreamlike mountain. The beautiful snow of the dreamlike mountain seemed to be drowned in ugliness. Genesis. However, a cold voice, mixed with an incomparable sword, came down fiercely. This sword seemed to have cut open the ugliness, and the beauty of the dreamlike mountain reappeared in the world. Whoosh! Under the sword it was like a flood hitting countless flies, and all the flies were sent flying. Blood flowed down like water. My wife loves the dreamlike mountain. How can I let your filthy footsteps taint this place? Faintly, the demons at the foot of the mountain heard a domineering voice. Indeed domineering. One person snatching a bride from the hands of thousands of demons, killing gods if gods blocked, and demons extinguishing demons if demons blocked. Among the demons, who was so domineering? I don't believe in heresy. The High Priest was so angry that his hair was about to stand on end. Were they the most complimenting the newlyweds today? Charge over, we must kill him. Under his angry roar, a large number of demons pounced on the dreamlike mountain, fearless of death, like a carp crossing a river. Not convinced. Kill until you're convinced. Unfortunately, although the High Priest was domineering, that man from the dreamlike mountain was even more domineering. Not convinced. Sure, kill until you're convinced. Today, who could stop him from bringing along the Xian Yuan? Swoosh swoosh. In front of all the demons, what was called slaughtering in all directions, what was called cutting vegetables and melons, was deeply displayed now. Even those great demon kings sucked in a cold breath. They did not make a move previously because they guessed that no matter how strong the newcomer was, there was a limit to it. But who knew that the newcomer's strength was limitless? This completely overturned their understanding. Because when did this world become filled with powerhouses? Even a random Moon Rabbit clan member was so terrifying? I'm not going. Go go go, this is too scary. Those demons that had pounced over were now terrified. That sword's murderous aura was too thick. It was also because at the foot of the dreamlike mountain, blood had already flowed like a river. Compared to the beautiful snowy scenery on the mountain, it was the best contrast. The two newlyweds walked down amidst the snow and blood. Thousands of eyes looked over, as if they were giving their blessings to the newlyweds. But in reality, many people knew that this was a disgrace to the demon realm, so they could not let that person succeed in stealing the bride. High Priest, you are the #1 genius of the demon realm. Your wife has been shot, you should take back your man's dignity. At this time many demon geniuses shouted because if ordinary demons went up, they would only be throwing their lives away. They could only wait for the geniuses to make a move. Looks like I can only go up. Alright, I will personally take back my wife. The High Priest nodded coldly as his eyes narrowed. Now that things had come to this, he had no other choice. However, he was still extremely confident in his own strength. He believed that the previous 2 losses were because he had underestimated his opponent. He did not believe that there was anyone in the younger generation of demons who could match him, unless the Pink Crown Prince and other geniuses of the past came back to life. Go. Let us see the glory of the #1 genius of the demon realm. You will definitely win. The other geniuses of the demon realm were also very confident because they had all witnessed the High Priest's strength. Is the High Priest going to personally take action? The demons were also filled with anticipation. It was very appropriate for the High Priest to take back his dignity. I don't care who you are or where you came from. Today I am the bridegroom. I am the #1 genius of the demon realm. Under everyone's gazes, the High Priest's robes fluttered. Although he had been extremely humiliated previously in terms of strength, he was indeed very impressive. Chapter 21-23. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. For her it was all worth it. In the endless years, this spirit formation altar had an illustrious reputation in the demon domain. It had sealed many powerful demons. The spirit formation power of the High Priestess altar is even more powerful than before. With his strength, he would be qualified to participate in the 4-clan youth competition. I look forward to the might of the 10,000 demon sky altar. Sensing the surging demonic energy, the various demon kings smiled. They could see that the ancient city's spirit formation was extremely terrifying. There were over 100,000 of them. So they believed that the arrogant Moon Rabbit clan member would not be able to stop it, unless he had also participated in the 4-clan youth competition. Of course, the 100 million life demon king nodded proudly. He suddenly remembered that although an arrogant junior had appeared in today's wedding, wasn't it also a pleasure? When his son, the High Priestess, killed the enemy, it would prove his son's excellence from another angle. Of course, even the High Priestess said confidently, Demon Seal. Rumble. Millions of black demon stones rushed forward like a flood. The spirit formation and demonic energy were extremely terrifying. Then banging sounds could be heard. Under countless gazes, the newlyweds were sealed in the terrifying altar. From afar, it was as if a fortress had appeared in the dreamlike mountain. It was a ghastly sight. Haha, is that all you've got? The High Priestess could not help but laugh. She even flipped her long hair. She strode toward the dreamlike mountain. Although her attitude was very arrogant, she believed that she had the qualifications to be arrogant. Because in the demon region, other than the Pink Crown Prince, who was she afraid of? Of course there was another person. It was the mysterious brat she met when she sold the mountain. That brat's origin was extremely strange. He seemed to be from the Moon Rabbit clan. Moon Rabbit clan? Moon Rabbit clan again. When did so many experts appear in this rabbit clan that was as cowardly as mice? As she walked, she thought to herself. She felt that it was extremely strange. Is that all you've got? However, before she could finish her thought, the enormous fortress in front of her was slashed open by a sword. Rocks and spirit formation splattered everywhere. It was as if a trapped demon had been released. 2 beautiful figures slowly walked out. The crowd could even see that the 2 of them did not even take a breath. They appeared to be at ease. It was broken. That brat from the Moon Rabbit clan actually managed to break through the demon region's #1 genius's altar spirit formation technique. Boom! All of the demons seemed to have been struck by lightning as their bodies began to tremble. It was the same for the High Priest. He stood there in a daze as he watched the two men walk over. Gradually, his pupils constricted, because he'd clearly seen who that kid from the Moon Rabbit clan was. It was actually that mysterious existence from last time. What kind of fiend was that guy? Why was he everywhere and even made him lose face? So it was you who stole my wife. Why don't you take a look at how weak you are? Almost at the same time, Lin Ling also got a good look at the High Priestess. Actually, he hadn't paid much attention to the High Priestess when he had sent her flying twice in a row. The reason was that she was simply too weak to catch his eye. This time he finally got a good look at her. He never expected that when he was selling the mountain, he would make a bet with the High Priest that the High Priest would kneel for 3 years. In the end, right after Lin Ling left, the High Priest immediately ran away. He was going back on his word. Do you know why I didn't kill you last time? Because I wanted you to fulfill your promise. Haha, it would appear that you violated the agreement between us. You've brought about your own destruction. Lin Ling said word by word. Putong. The High Priest's legs went soft, and he directly knelt down in fear. Last time he already knew how terrifying the Moon Rabbit clan was. In fact, if he knew it was still the Moon Rabbit clan this time, he would definitely not have dared to attack. Seeing him kneel down, all of the geniuses from the demon clan opened their mouths wide. The High Priest, the #1 genius of the demon clan? He was so scared that he knelt down? This was simply too unreal. Who exactly are you? In fact, even the High Priest felt that this was a dream. He still believed that the Moon Rabbit clan's brat was inferior to him. It was only reality that forced him to compromise. It did not mean that he was willing to admit defeat. Who exactly are you? This voice seemed to have spoken the thoughts of all of the demon clan. Who exactly was that dazzling Moon Rabbit clan brat? The great demon lords also frowned. When Lin Ling came closer, their expressions finally changed. This was especially true for the Crystal Master of the Devil Kingdom and the 400 million great demon lords. They sucked in a breath of cold air because they never imagined that the #1 genius of the human clan would appear here. There's no need to guess. He's the opponent that you, the High Priest, will always have to look up to. The Crystal Master of the Devil Kingdom's face was full of murderous intent. Of course, there was also surprise. Impossible. I even have the ambition to surpass the Pink Crown Prince. There's no opponent that I fear. Hearing this, the High Priest shook his head continuously. He could not accept this reality, because he's the #1 genius of the human clan and also the youngest ancient giant of the human clan, Lin Ling. The 400 million great demon lord said solemnly. As soon as these words fell, a bolt from the blue came crashing down. Countless geniuses from the demon clan widened their eyes. The human clan's genius Lin Ling had defeated all the geniuses of the various clans in the 4-race competition, and was the current #1. No wonder, no wonder. The High Priest had lost to Lin Ling. This was not strange at all. The two of them were not even on the same level. He's Lin Ling. The High Priest stared at Lin Ling. His body that had just stood up fell to the ground again. His face turned pale and even became dispirited. Although he was the #1 genius of the demon realm, how could he compare to Lin Ling? He even thought about how he had overestimated himself and felt extremely humiliated. And Lin Ling had also used his powerful strength to show him what it meant to be the #1 genius of the 4-race competition. And now Lin Ling's identity had been exposed. Without a doubt, he was more worthy of the demon realm's #1 princess than the High Priest. The High Priest was simply an ant. I knew it. How could there be so many powerhouses walking around? How could a mere Moon Rabbit clan be so powerful? So it's you, Lin Ling. The Crystal Master of the Devil Kingdom said lightly. He had been silent all this time and had finally spoken. This also meant that Lin Ling had the qualifications to make him speak. In fact, among all the geniuses of the human race, only Lin Ling had the qualifications. Long time no see. Lin Ling also smiled faintly. His words made the Xianyuan Guer suck in a breath of cold air. This was because they knew what the Crystal Master of the Devil Kingdom represented. However, they did not expect that Lin Ling had reached such heights that the Great Demon King would speak to him personally. You have great courage. You entered the demon realm alone and took away the Xianyuan Guer, right under our noses. This is not something that just anyone would dare to do. The 400 million Great Demon King also spoke. He admired Lin Ling's courage. With your talent and experience, it would not be difficult for you to catch up to us. Unfortunately, you were too impulsive. His words were true. If given more time, Lin Ling would definitely become famous. But now, Lin Ling was not worthy of their attention. Therefore, Lin Ling should not have impulsively come to save her. For her, everything is worth it. Chapter 21-24. Coercion. In my past life, I had waited until I was at the peak of my power before I came to the demon territory. Therefore, I lost to destiny and lost her. In this life, even if I'm as weak as a mortal, I will step into the demon territory without hesitation and take her away myself. Lin Ling enunciated each word clearly. The boldness in his voice made many demons secretly admire him. It had to be said that Lin Ling was a true warrior, a true man. Putting aside the fact that we're enemies, you're indeed worthy of my admiration. However, because we're enemies, you're going to die here today. Those great demon kings all stood up. I don't know if she will die or not, but no one can stop me from taking her away. Lin Ling looked straight ahead. Flames of determination burned in his eyes, as if the flames of war were burning the heavens. The hearts of all the devils trembled. Lin Ling was even more resolute than they had imagined. Kill him. Father, you must kill him. On the ground, the high priest could not help but roar. Now that the Demon King and the others had made their move, Lin Ling had to die this time. Whoosh! Unfortunately, just as he finished speaking, a sword slashed down, causing his head to fall off. Only after smashing into the ground did he realize that he had been killed by Lin Ling. However, before he died, he still heard Lin Ling's arrogant words. If you don't have the strength of a great demon king, then don't come here to die. Indeed, among the demons, the only one who could stop Lin Ling was the great demon king. That didn't include him, the ant-like high priest, so he shouldn't talk nonsense. You killed my son. I'm going to kill you. In the distance, Billion Lives Demon King stared blankly at Lin Ling. He had not expected Lin Ling to be so straightforward, killing without hesitation. If I don't kill him, do you think you won't kill me? Lin Ling smiled faintly as he held Xian Yuangu's hand and walked forward step by step. However, his words made many devils nod in agreement. The fact was indeed so. The high priest could only blame himself for being too stupid. He thought that he was on the same level as Lin Ling. He didn't know that he was just an ant to Lin Ling. What great courage! Let's see if you can leave this place. Those great demon kings all let out ice-cold voices. The terrifying power of law was like an invisible storm, suppressing Lin Ling. Since you are the reincarnation of Li Xiaoyao, we will let you die with dignity. The Devil Nation's Crystal Master shouted coldly. Boom! Lin Ling felt as if his entire body was being pressed down by an endless mountain. He nearly spat out a mouthful of blood. There were too many laws, perhaps reaching 10 million. Although these laws did not attack him directly, the aura they brought was not something he could withstand. Kneel down, Li Xiaoyao reincarnated Lin Ling. The Devil Nation's Crystal Master laughed complacently. He was very happy to be able to make the #1 emperor of the 4 great eras kneel down. In the future, he could also boast to the 4 great races that he was the #1 person in the world when Emperor Li Xiaoyao knelt down before him. You? Dream on. However, what surprised him was that Lin Ling was still walking forward while holding Xian Yuangu's hand. Although it was difficult for him to move, at least he took a step forward with difficulty. You have backbone. If you had cultivated for a longer time, I have no doubt that you would be able to control our lives. However, you are still too weak now. Kneel down. The Devil Nation's Crystal Master shouted coldly again. Ka. An even more terrifying power of law attacked. Suddenly, Lin Ling's bones began to break. His whole body was covered in blood, and even his blue and white robe had turned red. Xian Yuangu could not sense the pressure of these laws at all because Lin Ling blocked them all for her. Haha. The #1 emperor is about to kneel. Everyone saw that Lin Ling's knees were gradually bending. Pa. However, in the next moment, Lin Ling smiled coldly and straightened his bent knees again. Because he was standing straight, many people heard the sound of bones breaking. So strong. With his current strength he can't stop the ancient giants at all. He actually didn't get forced to kneel. He is true to himself. If it weren't for Xian Yuangu, he wouldn't have come at all. No one in the mortal realm can kill him. Moreover, if he cultivates for a while longer, he will definitely not be weaker than the great demon king. What a pity. Many demons were hostile at first, but gradually they admired him. Although they were enemies, their enemies' backbone and pride were enough to move them. The Devil Nation's Crystal Master's face turned ugly. He did not believe that Lin Ling was so powerful. Kneel. An even more terrifying pressure of law came. He wanted Lin Ling to kneel. Because Lin Ling had come to their territory, there was no doubt that he would die. However, before he died, he wanted the number 1 emperor to kneel. The more arrogant he was, the more he wanted him to lower his head. Crack, crack, crack. Lin Ling's body was covered in more blood. Every step he took left a bloody footprint. His long hair was also fluttering. His face was somewhat ferocious. It was a ferocious expression of pain. His current law was only 100,000, which was not comparable to the late-stage martial emperor experts of the older generation. Lin Ling. Feeling the pressure Lin Ling was under, Xian Yuangu shouted worriedly. The ferocious expression on Lin Ling's face disappeared. He turned around and smiled. Child's play. It was actually very difficult to smile, but Lin Ling did not want Xian Yuangu to worry about him. Don't worry, I will take you away. Then he took another step forward. What a stubborn boy. At this moment the great demon kings were shocked. Lin Ling was actually able to withstand the difference of tens of millions of law energy. This was simply beyond their imagination. However, this also showed how terrifying Lin Ling's perseverance was. Moreover, it also showed how terrifyingly Xiaoyao's perseverance was. The combination of their perseverance had reached a level that made one's hair stand on end. That was indeed the case. Whether it was in his previous life or this life, Lin Ling's growth was not smooth sailing. If he did not have that iron-like perseverance, how could he reach such heights today? I have more law energy. Let me do it. At this moment the 400 million great demon kings also shouted coldly. Rumble. An even more ferocious pressure of laws surged outwards. Bang. At this moment, Lin Ling had already reached the main street. The entire street seemed to have been suppressed and sunk in. All the demons looked at Lin Ling. They wanted to know if Lin Ling could take Xian Yuangu away under the pressure of the 3 great demon kings. They also wanted to know if this human genius who had entered the wolf's den could survive. Ah! Lin Ling let out a low groan. His eyes were red. If not for his godly demon body, he would have been reduced to dust. The difference in strength made him feel weak. If there was a chance in the future, he would definitely make these great demon kings be suppressed by his even more terrifying aura. He would remember this grudge. God's bone. A bone quietly appeared in his right hand. Then he moved forward again. Chi-chi. Under the pressure, the god's bone quietly turned into sparkling light and entered Lin Ling's body through his palm. Ka-ka-ka. His bones had also become even tougher. How terrifying. However, you still have to kneel. 200 million. The 400 million great demon king's face was also filled with anger. He released his law energy again. Pa! Lin Ling took a step forward. Under the pressure, the potential of his godly demon body was also stimulated. Chapter 21-25. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. Still as wild as before, the 400 million great demon king let out a low roar, and invisible laws permeated the air. Among the great demon kings of the demon region, he had the most laws. Those laws were like dreams and lightning, wandering in the sky like clouds. Bang bang bang. Invisible waves of energy pressed down, and countless demons on the street knelt down. Although the pressure of the laws was directed at Lin Ling, there were too many of them, and they couldn't withstand it. Some of the weaker demons were even crushed into powder. However, Lin Ling still stood, and he blocked all the laws on Xian Yuangu's body. He stepped on the path alone. Lin Ling. Xian Yuangu was already crying her eyes out. Was it so difficult to break fate? It's okay. If I die, I will enter reincarnation with you in this life. Lin Ling didn't have the strength to turn around and look at her. He could only speak weakly. For her, Lin Ling had given up the world and his bright future. It was all for the sake of breaking that fate. You won't enter reincarnation alone. Xian Yuangu nodded heavily when she heard such a resolute sentence. Wherever her man went, she would follow, even if it was reincarnation. As long as they held each other's hands, they wouldn't get lost. How infatuated! 400 million. The 400 million great demon king sneered, and an even more terrifying pressure of the laws attacked. Bang bang bang. Lin Ling had completely refined the bone of God, and his physical strength had increased greatly. His godly devil body was also at the initial stage, but he still couldn't withstand the surging laws. His arm broke with a bang, as if it was just a skeleton. He weakly held Xian Yuangu's hand, but this time Xian Yuangu held his hand even more tightly. She was afraid of being separated from her man. Bang! Both of his legs were broken, but he was still standing on the ground with his broken bones. What was surprising was that Lin Ling's expression was calm. He allowed his bones to break and blood to flow. This time he did not let out a cold cry or cry. At this moment, all the demons on the ground were kneeling. Only the great demon king and Lin Ling were still standing. This scene was undoubtedly shocking, as if thousands of people were bowing their heads. This wedding was very beautiful, but it was also very sad. This guy is really hard to deal with. I'm coming too. Come. The 100 million lives great demon king's mind he didn't believe. Instantly laws surged towards Lin Ling like an avalanche. His attack was clearly even more vicious, and he wanted to deal a fatal blow to Lin Ling. He believed Lin Ling. The great demon king, the great demon king, great demon. The great demon king attacking Lin Ling. This seniority was already inappropriate, but now 3 great demon kings were attacking at the same time. This was somewhat despicable. And when the laws of the 3 great demon kings joined together, Lin Ling might not be able to block it. In fact, this was indeed the case. At this moment, Lin Ling's pupils contracted fiercely, as if he could see the demonic power descending from the sky. Before it arrived, all the buildings in the city had collapsed. The scene was shocking. Why hadn't the firmament sword immortal and the others come yet? Could it be he was going to fall here? In a short period of time, several thoughts flashed through Lin Ling's mind. Could it be that he had to use his trump card? But no matter what kind of problem it was, if he was given a choice, he would choose to come here again. If you want to fight, then fight fairly. Why mess up this fated marriage? At this moment, a mysterious person wearing a cloak suddenly appeared in front of Lin Ling, one hand supporting him, helping him resist the pressure of the turbulent laws. This unforeseen event caused Lin Ling's expression to change slightly, and he looked over with a frown. Brat, although you and I are enemies, I admire your persistence in love, and the importance you place on promises. Xian Yuangur will be very happy with you. That mysterious person smiled faintly, revealing a stunning face under the brim of her hat. She was actually the sexy beauty he met when he sold the mountain. Almost at the same time, the laws of the 3 great demon kings in the sky pressed down like thunder and lightning, like a dream or an illusion. The vast demonic aura surged and actually formed a demonic nation. Heart Demon Gu Hai. Facing the terrifying law pressure in the sky, that sexy beauty's pretty face turned grave. Large amounts of blood-colored bubbles floated out around her body, as if they were bubbles emerging from the bottom of the water. However, each bubble was an extremely powerful law. Furthermore, when the bubbles rose into the sky, they also exploded, giving off crisp sounds. Those sounds carried a mysterious melody that could actually shake one's soul. This was clearly a powerful method that combined laws and soul power. Great Demon King Gu Hai. When the 3 great demon kings sensed that terrifying aura, their expressions changed drastically. This was because the latter was one of the 5 great demon kings of the demonic domain. She was also the most mysterious great demon king. This great demon king did not have a large territory. Furthermore, it was at the border of the demonic domain. Furthermore, her entire race was female. However, no one in the demonic domain dared to underestimate that place, as all who went there would die. Rumble. The terrifying law pressure in the sky seemed to have been blasted away, revealing the dusky sky. Clearly, Great Demon King Gu Hai had blocked the three Great Demon Kings' law pressure. Of course, that was just the pressure. If the three Great Demon Kings had attacked with their laws, Great Demon King Gu Hai would not have been able to block it. At this moment, Great Demon King Gu Hai's pretty face turned somewhat pale. Clearly, she was having some difficulty blocking it. Scram! However, to her surprise, the man before her shouted coldly at her. He did not need her help. I will protect my woman myself. Thank you for earlier. Lin Ling enunciated each word clearly, his face filled with pride and determination. You fool! That Great Demon King Gu Hai could not help cursing angrily. Should he call this youth a fool? Or was he too stubborn? However, although this man was wild, at least he knew how to appreciate favors. He also thanked her. Without my help, you would definitely have died. That Great Demon King Gu Hai said again. In reality, she did not know why she wanted to help. Perhaps she did not want a man with a true temperament to die in this world. Actually, your help is not much. On the contrary, you will only bring trouble to yourself. Furthermore, I Lin Ling am already here. Clearly, it is already too late for them to kill me. Lin Ling raised his head, his handsome face spitting out a voice. Great Demon King Gu Hai's pretty eyes immediately narrowed. Lin Ling is that confident? The three Great Demon Kings behind were the same. After all, they could kill Lin Ling at any time. Previously, they only wanted to make Lin Ling kneel. Did Lin Ling really think that he could escape from the three of them? If that was the case, they would lose all face. He is still as wild as ever. He truly lives up to being the human race's genius. Lin Ling. Those kneeling demons had no choice but to submit. Even at this moment, Lin Ling still remained arrogant. Lin Ling, do you really think that you will not die? The 100 million lives Great Demon King said coldly. The murderous intent in his eyes was the densest. The three Great Demon Kings withdrew their nomological pressure and looked at Lin Ling. I have already come this far. I Lin Ling will not die. Chapter 21-26. You can't kill me. You mean we can't kill you? Billion Lives Demon King narrowed his eyes. He didn't believe that a trifling Lin Ling could cause any big waves. Of the 5 Great Demon Kings of the Demon Realm, only this beauty and the Great Demon King of the East can be considered heroes. As for you all, you're just a nest of snakes and rats. Maybe you're not convinced, then I'll tell you how much trash you are. Great Demon King of the 100 million lives, your son's wedding, in the end the bride was taken away by me, and your precious son was killed by me. Such a shameful thing happened. I really don't understand how you still have the nerve to call yourself a Great Demon King. Crystal Master of the Devil Kingdom. I killed all 3 of your sons, but what can you do? You can only hole up in the demon domain. You should give up your Great Demon King position and let someone else take it. As for you, the 400 million Great Demon King trash, you only know how to team up with others. When you meet me, an early Martial Emperor Jr., you actually don't dare to fight one-on-one. Of course, I know that all of you are determined to kill me, because all of you are afraid that after I grow up, I will come and settle accounts with all of you. Lin Ling's voice was like a clap of thunder, causing the 3 Demon Kings' expressions to turn extremely ugly. What infuriated them was that the surrounding demons were silent. Clearly, they agreed with Lin Ling's words. How can someone who's about to die have the guts to spout such nonsense? The 100 million lives Demon King was the most furious. If you're scared, then you're scared. What's the point of talking nonsense? Lin Ling laughed coldly. But I can also tell you that today, you can no longer kill me. You can only watch me leave in anger. With that, he held Xian Yuangu'er's hand and left again. That kind of carefreeness and fearlessness had undoubtedly caused the entire city to fall silent. Even Demon King Gu Hai was shocked. He did not understand where Lin Ling got his confidence from. She muttered to herself, this fellow is only a second-stage martial emperor, while the 3 Demon Kings are late-stage martial emperors. Furthermore, there are 3 of them. How can he block them? Then let me see how you won't die. The 3 Demon Kings were so angry that they began to laugh. It was time to end everything. This time they no longer planned to use the pressure of laws, but instead use laws to kill. Lin Ling. Xian Yuangu'er looked at Lin Ling nervously. Lin Ling had already recovered by relying on his god-devil body. He smiled faintly and said, "I'm fine. Let's go." If the 3 demon kings had attacked him from the start, he, Lin Ling, would have been slaughtered. However, the 3 demon kings were too confident and missed the best opportunity to kill Lin Ling. In addition, Demon King Lin Ling blocked the most crucial attack. Therefore, it was now time for Lin Ling to counterattack. Because he sensed that his disciple had returned. Great Devil Kingdom! At this moment, behind him, countless devil armies were rushing over. The Devil Nation Crystal Lord floated up. His chest seemed to have opened the gates of a city, allowing the army to descend. How terrifying! Is he finally ruthless enough to make a move? All the demons watched this scene anxiously. However, that proud youth did not even look back as he walked through the street. It was as if he was taking a stroll with his wife under the setting sun, amidst the army playing with life. How bold! Not to mention those demons, even Demon King Gu Hai sucked in a cold breath. Rumble! The void exploded and the streets tumbled. A large number of demons died under the laws of the Demon Nation's Crystal Master. But when everyone looked at Lin Ling again, a terrifying scene occurred. On that icy cold street, that pair of lovers was still moving forward. Not only were they fine, but the two were even chatting happily. Chi! Seeing this, the sound of people sucking in a breath of cold air was heard. How domineering! What kind of courage was that? How can this be? That Devil Nation Crystal Lord's expression turned somewhat ferocious. In reality, he absolutely could not let Lin Ling leave, as Lin Ling would be a huge problem. Hence, while he seemed to be forcing Lin Ling to kneel earlier, he would definitely kill Lin Ling at the critical moment. However, he now felt that the situation was out of his control. Devil Nation Crystal Lord, are you letting him off? The 100 million life Demon King shouted angrily at this moment. Nonsense! That brat suddenly became strange. If you don't believe me, you can try. The Devil Nation Crystal Lord retorted somewhat gloomily. I don't believe that he is that strange. The 100 million life Demon King floated up. The single horn on his forehead, as thick as an arm, gave off a dazzling light. Many strange palms appeared around him. These palms gave off a mysterious demonic fog, giving off intense pressure. Without a doubt, any one of the 3 demon kings could kill everything, aside from the various ancient giants. Die for me! Those terrifying palms danced in the sky, blotting out the sky and smashing down on the ground. When one looked carefully, one would see 200 million laws hidden in them. The demonic domain seemed to be overturned at this moment. Boom! The ground shook. However, the horrifying thing was that the swordsman carrying the ancient sword continued holding his wife's hand as they strolled along the cold street amid the boundless laws. Only after all the laws blasted the ground did everyone see that Lin Ling remained safe and sound. I remember that you like to eat barbecued meat. Previously, when we were together at the ghost domain, I was the one who barbecued most of the meat. It should be your turn next time. Lazy fellow. Isn't it the husband who barbecued meat for the wife? Men and women are equal. Occasionally, the wife should make a move. What rendered everyone speechless was that this perfect couple was actually chatting. The entire city immediately fell silent. The 3 demon kings goggled. Demon King Gu Hai's beautiful eyes also narrowed. That feeling made it seem like those two were not from this world. They had transcended life and death, walking in the sky that everyone had to look up to. We cannot let him leave. Otherwise, he will become a huge problem. Attack! The 3 demon kings finally felt fear. This was as good as letting the Grim Reaper leave. If that young ancient era powerhouse left alive, they would be the ones to die the next time. 400 million laws. Unparalleled laws blasted out again. They are panicking. Clearly, Lin Ling's earlier words frightened them. The crowd muttered to themselves. The crowd secretly said. In their eyes, this matter was too unbelievable. The 2 of them left along the long street. Even the 3 great demon kings couldn't kill them. Most importantly, the 2 of them didn't even turn their heads back from the beginning to the end. They were so calm and indifferent that they couldn't help but admire them. Furthermore, these were 3 demon kings, the most terrifying existences in the demonic domain. Who could survive from them? However, Lin Ling seemed to be able to. Rumble. Even so, with 400 million demon kings attacking, the result was the same. At this moment, the cold sweat on the foreheads of the three demon lords increased. The arrogant words from before, the mocking of Lin Ling, were like silent slaps that ruthlessly landed on their faces. They could not kill Lin Ling with their full strength, yet they still wanted to toy with Lin Ling? In reality, they did not know that Lin Ling had finally brought out one of his trump cards, the dodging domain. This dodging domain was left behind by Li Xiaoyao. It was a soul energy martial technique. Once it was activated, as long as one's soul energy was not completely exhausted, one could form a dodging domain. Chapter 21-27. The ancient giants would be killed all the same. You killed my son. You can't live. The billion lives Demon King couldn't hold it in any longer and flew toward Lin Ling hysterically. Since he couldn't kill him with his laws, he would just have to get close and kill him. However, as soon as his figure moved, a black torrent swam out from Lin Ling's body. A giant ancient serpent flicked its tongue and coldly stared at the 100 million lives Demon King. Boom! The huge snake's mouth then pounced, and the laws roared. What the hell is this? The 100 million life Devil King became more and more anxious. Everyone could see that he had lost his composure and reason. Of course, if it was another person, they would probably do the same. Seeing a junior who was inferior to them leave before their eyes, who could maintain their calm? Boom! Boom! It was none other than a little saint. In fact, Lin Ling could have used the minor saint from the beginning, but he didn't because the three Devil Kings wouldn't treat him like an ant if he used his trump card. After all, Lin Ling only needed time. That giant snake was actually able to fight the billion lives Demon King to a draw. Lin Ling's methods are truly endless. The hearts of the crowd trembled violently. It was indeed difficult to kill Lin Ling. Many people even sensed that the hearts of the remaining two Demon Kings were shaken, as if they also believed that they couldn't kill Lin Ling. Or perhaps they couldn't see through Lin Ling anymore. His cultivation is not high. How could he be so difficult to deal with? We can't let him leave. Let's attack him together. Although it's extremely humiliating, it's best if we can kill him. All right. The Demon Nation's Crystal Master and the 400 million Great Demon Kings exchanged several words before rushing out. Even if they didn't care about face or dignity, they still had to keep Lin Ling here. Stay here forever. The terrifying demonic palm grabbed at Lin Ling, and the sky of the infernal domain seemed to be split into two. 400 million Great Demon King. He was famous for having 400 million nomological laws. This was because he had the most nomological laws in the infernal domain. He even had the most nomological laws among the ancient giants of the four races. As for the Devil Kingdom's Crystal Lord, at this moment, thousands of soldiers and horses swam out of his body. All of them condensed on his body, turning him into an indomitable giant. Upon closer inspection, one would find that his entire body was composed of his head, hands, and feet. It was quite a terrifying sight. Are you finally going to fight to the death? The crowd sucked in a breath of cold air. They stared at Lin Ling and realized that even though he was the center of attention, Lin Ling was calm and collected. He would not be alarmed even if the sky collapsed. King. This was a true king. Get the hell back. Finally, a cold voice sounded. There was a sword coming from the horizon at an extremely fast speed. One sword with 100 million nomological laws, cutting through everything. Sword Immortal Tsongtian. Seeing this, the Devil Kingdom's Crystal Lord sucked in a breath of cold air. In fact, he had always been wary of Lin Ling's disciples. However, he also sensed that those disciples were not around Lin Ling. That was why he was so confident. Even if those disciples rushed over, he would be able to kill Lin Ling first. However, he had overestimated himself. Lin Ling's methods and trump cards were simply beyond imagination. Moreover, Wu Shang was already at the second degree. What if he was at the same level as them? Go to hell. After Sword Immortal Tsongtian, a black dragon roared. It was the Dark Dragon Emperor. Following that, there was a whistling sound in the sky. It was as clear as a bell, but a cold and murderous voice also descended. All of you must die! Exclamation point. Martial God Yungu floated in the sky. A mysterious jade zither appeared in her hand. The zither determined the world. The arrival of the three ancient giants of the human race had undoubtedly shocked the entire infernal domain. How terrifying! Is that Lin Ling's counterattack? Exclamation point. Everyone found it difficult to breathe. In their hearts, Lin Ling was like an emperor on a tour. When he arrived, he would dominate the world. Bang! 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 However, what terrified them was that there was another giant coming from afar. His footsteps were like thunder, and his long hair danced wildly. He was like an invincible god of war. It was the great demon king of the East. Behind the great demon king of the East, a large number of demons from the realm of true martial were also charging over. Great demon king of the East. Great! Billion-life demon king stared at the distance, and his face turned completely ugly. He finally understood why Lin Ling appeared here alone. That crazy guy actually used himself as bait to attract the attention of the three great demon kings. He wanted his disciple to save the great demon king of the realm of true martial. Lin Ling was really a lunatic. Billion-life demon king could not help but admire Lin Ling's actions. While he was still in shock, the huge black snake's tail swept over. It actually carried an endless amount of power of law, as if it was going to destroy the world. This made Billion-life demon king's face change. He instantly released a large number of palms, forming an earth-shattering force, to resist the huge tail of the ancient snake. He was deeply aware that these things that came from Lin Ling's side, whether they were humans or snakes, were extremely terrifying existences. Pop! 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 The huge tail seemed to be cutting through tofu, causing those palms to explode unceasingly. Demon energy violently shot out, but in the end Billion-life demon king was still confident that he could block the attack of the ancient snake. Unfortunately, he forgot that there was more than one expert attacking him. I will take your life on behalf of my master. At this time a sword slashed over. It was half evil and half demon. A huge sword light seemed to be able to cut through the world, and it carried a strong murderous aura. No! Billion-life demon king's pupils constricted. Yes, he had forgotten that Lin Ling's strength was not due to a mere ancient snake. How could he have forgotten about this? In fact, he should have known that after Lin Ling's last sentence, they had already lost the upper hand. Subconsciously, he stared fixedly at the street and suddenly realized that the young man who looked like a monarch was still holding Xinyuan Gu's hand as they walked down the street. That feeling was as if he, the demon king of 100 million lives, was an ant that couldn't enter Lin Ling's eyes at all. Rumble! Almost at the same time, the huge tail of the little saint came over and wrapped around his body. Let me go! Billion-life demon king let out a terrified cry. His voice was so miserable that it made the hearts of all the devils tremble. After being tied up by the little saint, Sword Immortal Songtian's sword slashed over. Are you bullying me with numbers? The question that came out of Sword Immortal Songtian's mouth was undoubtedly shocking. Swoosh! The decisive sword slashed out, and the ancient city seemed to be cut in half. Under countless gazes, a sword wound appeared on the 100 million lives Devil King's neck, and vast amounts of devil energy leaked out. The 100 million lives Devil King's face was completely pale, and even stiff and unsightly. Under everyone's shocked gazes, his head slid down to the ground. Under the joint attack of the little saint and Sword Immortal Songtian, one of the 5 great demon kings of the devil region had fallen. The whole city, even the entire devil region, seemed to have fallen into silence at this moment. Today was the wedding day of Billion-life demon king's son, and the entire devil region was celebrating. Who would have thought that Lin Ling would come and interrupt the most joyous occasion in the devil region, stirring up a storm of blood? In fact, he did succeed in stealing the bride, and the so-called groom was just a joke. However, no one would have thought that even Billion-life demon king would fall. One should know that he was one of the ancient giants of the 4 races. It could even be said that Billion-life demon king was the first ancient giant to fall after the battle of creation. Domineering, was this Lin Ling's domineering way? He would kill anyone who tried to stop him. Chapter 21-28. The tide has turned Qi. In the next instant, the entire ancient city let out the sound of cold air being sucked in. Even Demon King Gu Hai felt the same. She smiled bitterly. She did not expect that the brat she met when she was selling the mountain would be so terrifying. The funniest thing was that she had overestimated herself and tried to help him. Moreover, it was no wonder that this brat would not have a good expression every time he saw him, because the other party really didn't need to fear him. Boys kill. Turn the world upside down and blood flows like a river. At the same time, the giants in the distance arrived. They brought an army of thousands of men and horses to slaughter everything. The great demon king of the east had descended. The most ancient great demon king of the infernal realm. Not good. The demons in the ancient city were scared. The great demon king of the east was not a good person. His territory was seized and he almost died. How could he not take revenge? Bang! The gigantic fist carried with it the power to destroy heaven and earth as it viciously slammed toward the demon kingdom's crystal master. Great demon king of the east. The devil nation's crystal master's face was extremely ugly. Today, his plan with the billion lives demon king had been disrupted by Lin Ling alone. They had gone from an absolute advantage to an absolute disadvantage. Why? Boom! He also punched out and released a large number of demons. However, as soon as he released it, the black dragon hovering in the sky also released its ferocious aura. Many figures jumped down from the sky. They were the villains from the prison in the mortal realm. Their ferocious aura was so terrifying that even the demons were afraid. Then they clashed with the army of the crystal master of the devil kingdom. Boom! The two fists collided. With the cooperation of the great eastern demon king and the dark dragon emperor, the devil kingdom crystal master's aura immediately withered. All of you are bullying me with numbers. You are not true martial artists. The devil kingdom crystal master roared angrily. He simply could not block the attacks of the two ancient giants. Weren't these things done by you all before? The great demon king of the east raised his fist and punched out. Every punch was like a meteor bombarding the earth, overbearing and magnificent. Boom! Boom! With each punch, the devil nation crystal master spat out a mouthful of blood and retreated. His face turned even paler. On the other side, the 400 million great demon kings weren't any better. They only had 2 people left while Lin Ling had 4 ancient giants on his side. How were they going to fight? Even the surrounding demons were surprised at how quickly the situation had changed. Lin Ling, the 400 million demon king, roared. He was filled with regret, incomparable regret. If he had known earlier that Lin Ling's counterattack was so terrifying, he would have simply killed Lin Ling from the very beginning. Unfortunately, he missed it all. Kill. In the sky, martial god Yungu also attacked. Her attacks were so sharp that they made him suffer again and again. However, he gritted his teeth and held on because there was still a glimmer of hope in his heart. Lin Ling was definitely in a heavily injured state right now. They couldn't kill Lin Ling, but their subordinates could. Go kill him. The 400 million demon king roared at the sky. He wanted to see Lin Ling die. Lin Ling was too arrogant. He should have left an ancient giant by his side to protect him instead of bringing along the Xianyuangu'er alone. The demon nation crystal master also thought the same. Therefore he endured, hoping to hold on until Lin Ling died. A large number of demons pounced on Lin Ling, making Demon King Lin Ling anxious. Just as he was about to warn Lin Ling, however, at this moment, a large number of black shadows floated out of Lin Ling's body. The terrifying Yellow Springs army descended, and the ancient primordial divine crows appeared majestically. Before those demons could get close to Lin Ling, they were killed by the ancient primordial divine crows. They were even forced to retreat in panic. Lady Watermist, Lady Pooh, and the others sneered, "Come, let's see who will kill who." Another trump card appeared. Lin Ling seemed to have no limit, giving the Demon Nation Crystal Master and the others a resounding slap. They were not qualified to kill Lin Ling. Boom! Such a scene undoubtedly shocked the entire true martial realm. Until now, everyone still had an illusion. Who was the real Demon King of the Demon Domain? Looking at Lin Ling again, he was still holding the Xianyuangu'er's hand, strolling on the broken long street. Under the dusky sunset of the Demon Domain, it looked extremely peaceful and beautiful. So beautiful. He was actually talking to the Xianyuangu'er the whole time. He didn't even look behind him. This is the overlord in my heart. In the distance, many demons secretly thought to themselves. They all remembered the name Lin Ling. The two figures in the distance walked further and further away, disappearing from everyone's sight. As for the city, it was still the battlefield of the ancient giants. However, there was no doubt that the Demon Nation Crystal Master and the others had lost. Today, not only did they not gain any advantage, they suffered a great loss. Lin Ling, thank you. After leaving the ancient city, the Xianyuan Gu smiled excitedly. I said I will be back. Lin Ling also smiled brightly. He knew very well that although he appeared to be carefree earlier, in reality, he had almost died. Fortunately, he had managed to survive that difficult period. So where are we going now? The Xianyuan Gu looked at Lin Ling with appreciation. In this world there was a man who risked his life to save her. Such a man was worthy of being with her for the rest of her life. Most importantly, the fate of her and Li Xiaoyao was finally broken in this life. Anywhere is fine. The two strolled aimlessly, cherishing the hard-won time. Finally, they stopped on top of an ancient mountain back to back, looking at the entire demon domain. Although the sky in the demon domain was dark, it had a different feeling. Li Xiaoyao, Lin Ling, they are the same person. The Xianyuan Gu leaned against Lin Ling, smiling and talking to herself. She quietly turned her head and saw that the young man behind her had fallen asleep. He was so tired that he fell asleep. The Xianyuan Gu's heart suddenly beat wildly. Then she gently touched Lin Ling's cheek. After doing all this, she seemed to have done something wrong, and her beautiful face blushed. They quietly leaned against each other. After an unknown amount of time, the Eastern Demon King appeared in the distant sky. He looked at the young man and woman on top of the mountain and couldn't help but laugh. In this life, Lin Ling finally didn't come too late. My lord, all the remaining people are either dead or have escaped. Right now, there are no other great Demon King's people in the realm of true martial arts. A subordinate beside him said. This time we should thank that guy. If it weren't for him, we would have been dead. The Eastern Demon King looked at Lin Ling with gratitude. He didn't expect that his strongest opponent in the past would be his savior today. He is a good match for my lady. The subordinate laughed, which made the Eastern Demon King stunned for a moment. Then he coldly snorted, he is a good match. But if he wants to marry my Gu, it won't be that easy. If he doesn't send millions of rivers and mountains to the mortal world, he won't even be able to touch my Gu's hand. This betrothal gift is so ruthless. The subordinate laughed again. The Eastern Demon King's mouth was hard but his heart was soft. You old man, when I saved you, you were only half alive. Now you are full of energy. Alas, are all old people so awesome? You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.